Welcome to Senior Day here in Greenville, North Carolina, and UTSA, the newly named champions of the American in town, looking for the series. East Carolina opens up a doubleheader at home. They have seeding implications on the line, and a gorgeous Saturday for college baseball. Two of the best year in, year out in this American Conference. A lot of families on hand to celebrate pregame early. Now we got some baseball on tap. I'm EvanBudrovich. Mike Mullis joining us shortly, and for Cliff Godwin and his program, an emotional afternoon celebrating this senior class. Over 160 wins in the 4 years here for Pirate baseball. Meanwhile, for UTSA, the bats continue to swing well. They were actually out-hit by the Pirates last night, but won 8-5. And with that victory, UTSA clinches the regular season title. As you see, seeds 2 through 7, it's all over the place. A lot of opportunities as we enter these last 2 weeks of the regular season. In terms of starting pitching, it's a little unique for both programs today. One, for East Carolina, Jake Hunter gets the ball for the Pirates. He closed out last night. And Connor Miles, typical Sunday arm, gets the arm in day 2. We're going to step aside for just a moment with the national anthem and get you ready for first pitch. It's the Pirates and the Roadrunners of UTSA when we come back here on ESPN+. Welcome back to East Carolina. This is Game 2, a little doubleheader on tap today. And Jake Hunter, who pitched the final inning of last night, it is his senior day, and gets an opportunity to start here for East Carolina. It's a little unconventional, but Cliff Godwin needing 18 innings out of his staff today, so he starts with a veteran in Jake Hunter.
But you know what, Ev, you also, it's a kind of a significant, almost a this is a gift start for a senior who's paid his dues, who's done what he's done for this program. So don't expect to see Jake go a whole long time, obviously, with the fact that he went yesterday and, all that has been with him throughout the year. But we do expect that he'll go out and give him what he can give him, and I think it's going to be piecing together the rest of the way.
His 75th career outing, a lot of experience on that Pirate bump, and he'll face a UTSA lineup that has swung the bats really well coming in. Top 10 in batting average in the country. The Pirates did out-hit UTSA last night, but it all starts with Mason Lytle, the league's leader in hits, and then James Tausig, a big home run that forced Norby out of the game yesterday.
Yeah, anything Tausig does is big. That's just a large human being. But that, this is a very, very potent offense for the Roadrunners, and been well documented all year. They've kind of run their way through this conference and, quite frankly, through their season at large. But Pirates, Norby was Norby last night, held them at bay, and kind of had to piece it together on the back end. And we'll just see what happens with these two clubs today. We got a long day of it.
Final 2 home games for the Pirates before they head to South Florida. UTSA will host Rice next week, and then all roads lead to Clearwater. Jake Hunter working quickly. 2 strikes here on Caden Miller, the starting first baseman.
Always been a good situation for the Pirates, at least the last few years, where they get to go down to South Florida. They kind of hang around, and they don't have to make the trip back and forth. They're there and ready to go when Clearwater opens up.
Right now, ECU would be in the 6th seed position if the tournament started today. But we showed you in the open, 2 through 6 is a carousel of programs. And here's Caden Miller, who pitch hit last night. He's a situational right versus left starter. This is Caden's 41st start. The lone, or one of 2 freshmen with Jordan Bolin in Coach Hallmark's lineup today. A lineup that's had 10 different starting 9s in 10 games. No, Coach Pat's not afraid to mix and match.
It's so funny you say that. It's just kind of do a little digging. The roster construction is kind of interesting, and then the fact of how he uses those pieces is very interesting. It's kind of indicative of the type of club this is. This is a scrappy blue-collar club that can bludgeon you to death, or it can be death by 1,000 paper cuts, kind of depending on which way they're going offensively.
A team that averages over 8 runs a game hit that number last night. And then the Pirates had a furious comeback. Tying run on in the 8th, could not cash him in, losing 8-5. Here's Hunter working 2-2 to Miller. And Caden battles one away. He had a pitch hit at bat last night, did Miller. 1 for 2. One of 5 pitch hitters. A reliever who went out to the outfield and came in to pitch. Pat Hallmark not afraid to utilize his entire roster.
It's kind of why it makes you wonder what we'll get today over these 2 games with how they'll piece this thing together.
I hope you brought your pencil.
Yeah, you're going to need it.
There's the swing. Miller goes around on the punch out for Jake Hunter.
Always a special day in these programs, senior day, when, the guys have come through. Of course, now, the world being different in that, guys may not be here for the entirety of a career, but still their impact. And then you have guys like Riley Johnson and Jake Hunter that have been such a big part of this club for so many years. It feels like they've just been here forever.
You're right. Those 2 4-year contributors here for the Pirates. Hunter making his 25th career start. He pounds in a strike to maybe one of the hottest hitters in the country, Mason Lytle. We noted the league in hits. He continued that beat of the drum last night with a 1 for 3 game. Mason's hit in 4 spots in the order in the last 4 games, all up and down, 1 through 4.
Tell you one thing that stands out with this UTSA offensive approach is aggression. They're not afraid to get off a swing early in the count. And I mean, a super aggressive, kind of what you refer to as an A-plus hack. But they, the front end of these ABs are critical for these Pirate pitchers to get ahead.
Oh, hits the helmet of Lytle. He looks to be okay, but a big hit by pitch there.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily what I meant by get ahead, but,
No, unfortunately, he'll be okay. Yeah, that was no intention there.
Yeah, this one just gets away from Jake. And nice part is with one of those deals, you could see Lytle saw that out of the hand that it was going to be a problem, is able to get that ear flap turned in. And, I love it's kind of a new thing, or a newer thing, is the extension kind of down into the jaw. And it's kind of funny, some guys will say, well, I don't feel like I can see with it there. Listen, as hard as guys throw now, you don't want to get hit anywhere near that area with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, so I would take all the armor I could get.
Human cyborg James Tauzik, 6'6", 230, digs in. And he hit a ball 108 off the bat last night, beating a blustering wind in from right for a 2-run homer.
You know what's funny? Normally when you see 6'6", 230, you're like, okay, he's probably 6'4", 220. I think he might be 6'7", 250. This guy is, I think a cyborg definition is pretty accurate. He looks like he's straight out of the Terminator films.
Arnold Schwarzenegger would be proud. As Tauzik pops one up on the infield. Colby Wallace calling for it. And there's Jake Hunter with 2 quick outs. We'll see if Wallace is a factor in the pitching side today with 2 games on tap. Each staff using 4 different relievers last night. But truth be told, better to play 2 today than sit through lightning and thunder all afternoon tomorrow and hope and pray. Especially on Mother's Day. Clear the weekend up for moms at home.
Well, and, you know, I guess obviously for UTSA, their fate is determined at this point. And so, you know, the Pirates obviously having a little more to play for as far as seeding goes. But, you know, when you get to this point again, going into a Sunday game, UTSA, you know, literally having nothing to play for other than just, to win the game. But it's, you know, if you can go ahead and get it in, 2 games in good weather, certainly, as you said, better than sitting around and dragging it out when, who knows, the forecast is, uncertain at best.
Home stretch of this regular season, each club with just 5 games left, including 2 today. And Jake Hunter, who pitched in the 9th last night, works the first today. Runner moving. Barron's throw is a good one, in time. Good arm from the Pirate backstop. And UTSA is asked to challenge this.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a really good jump, and you could see the runner first. He was showing the whole time that he was really trying to get that jump off of Jake Hunter, but you know, I mean, a really good exchange, a good throw. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to look back in live action there. It was too close to call from up here. The umpire on the field says out. We'll see. Feel sure, obviously, the determination has been made. They're going to go to the booth and take a look at it.
So Kevin Morgan and Rick Allen will take a look.
We'll take a look at the same time. Good exchange by Walker Barron.
Well, that's just how you teach it with the throw right there.
I mean, the throw was in the tag area, but it looked to me right there, Ev, as though the runner's arm got in a little ahead of the throw, but we'll see if we can take another look here. It was a great throw by Walker Barron, actually maybe a little up from the bag, and you saw as it was kind of sinking, Dixon Williams having to reach for it a little bit. You see the ball coming in the frame, a little tough to see there.
Keep in mind, calling the field is out, but I do agree with you that first view may be enough to overturn this.
You can see here, it looks like it's just going to be a little bit low, so Dixon has to reach out to get it as opposed to it being dead in the tag area. Really good throw, though, just a little short. You see the tail. It looks to me like he's in right there before the tag gets on him. Umpire in a great position to make the call, just truly the epitome of a bang-bang play out at second base.
Yeah, we have the luxury of slowing it down a third of the speed of what it is like live.
That's right. Had one overturned last night. Play at first base. And so, anyway, you know, it's.
And the fun story behind that, I don't know if you heard us last night, Mike, but it was the first time the first base coach, Ryan Aguayo, had got an overturn call correct. He had appealed 9 different times and had missed all 9 as the first base coach.
Law large numbers, you keep trying, eventually you're going to get one. So, good for him.
It had gotten so bad that Pat Hallmark joked with us, Ryan lost his challenge card. It would have to come from the player first and not from the coach, which I always love those kind of stories. Although, Mike, you know as a coach, I do wonder how much sometimes you want to call it versus your player wants to initiate it. I know in high school and JUCO it's different. But
yeah, I can tell you what, man, I quite frankly, I've never coached in a game that offered a replay possibility. It's kind of a standing joke now where you'll see guys, you know, come up and give the headphones knowing that it can be reviewed. But, you know, part of the game, and you always say that when you come out on the right side of it, but it is nice to be able to get them right. You see there, I still think that first angle is the one. If they're going to make a change on it, it's going to be from the first replay we saw where it looked like he stuck in. And, again, my theory all year, my hypothesis has been that the longer the conversation takes, the more likely it is to be overturned, and here come the umpires with their determination.
Rick Allen's verdict is safe, so that is overturned. Now 2 outs and a man in scoring position. Mason Lytle, he's a speed demon, 14 of 18 now.
Moreover, I think the big news here is the 2-0 count. With this aggressive roadrunner offense, runner in score position, 2-0 count. I'm sure Stuckey will be looking to do some damage pretty quickly with Jake Hunter after the kind of the long wait.
And Andrews reached base in 25 straight games. Takes a big swing here, but that's out of play. Deep into the jungle.
Yeah, he was sitting dead red right there. Got an 89-mile-an-hour offering from Jake Hunter just enough to where not a whole lot Andrew could do with it.
Stuckey, McClure, and Detlefson, 3 all-conference caliber hitters in the heart of this UTSA lineup. Hunter changes speeds, and that's left up. Drops in front of Burris. So Lytle's speed pays off. He steals second and scores on the 2-out knock.
Yeah, again, the overturn call goes against the Pirates. And, the other thing I've often wondered, I would love to know the stats of what happens on the back end of that with the Pirate pitching. In other words, when they had that wait, not a bad pitch here, gets it off the end of the bat just enough for the base hit. But it seems to me, just through observation over the course of the season, that after the Pirate pitching staff has had a minute or two to stand around on the mound, it seems to work against them more times than not.
This allows UTSA to score first. And a big hack from Norris McClure comes in with 8 doubles. He had a productive night yesterday, extending his hit streak to 15 games. 1 for 5, and that hit in the 8th was part of a 7-run inning. 3 in the top half, 4 in the bottom. After a rain delay, that inning felt even longer. Yet UTSA held on by 3 late. Pre-rain, there was no offense. Post-rain, both teams found their bats.
Yeah. Pre-rain, it was the game was moving along at a sprinter's pace.
Hunter's 1-1, stays up. This is popped foul. Wallace with room, and Colby's got it. UTSA, though, strikes first. The Andrew Stuckey base hit. He's got 35 RBI. And we'll get our first look at the Pirate offense when we return. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. Here's Connor Miles, typical Sunday starter, but with this weekend getting pushed up to a double dip. The Melbourne native comes in. Miles, part of a staff that ERA is a little bit deceiving. He's been very effective, including 3 innings at South Florida. And now Connor has to open up what could be a long day of pitching for UTSA and ECU.
Yeah, big strikeout to a walk number there, 50-18, 50 strikeouts and only 51 2/3. Came a long ways to get to UTSA from Melbourne, Australia. And again, it's going to be very, very interesting. Is this going to be, a live action bullpen type situation, or will they try to extend Miles? They get him a day early than they normally get him, and kind of how does that set him up? As next weekend, this would be his day that he would be going as well, because the last series are moved up. So we'll see how this thing goes. a lot of questions. I think there's going to be a lot of ad-libbing by both coaching staffs.
Here's Cliff Godwin's lineup. Austin Irby, the player to watch in terms of his output. And then last night, a 2-hit game for Jack Herring, who slides up into the 2-hole today. A mixture of seniors in there on senior day for Cliff Godwin's program. Johnson and Collins earning starts. What a neat return. Riley Johnson back at his home parks. Only played 10 games, made a great catch. He doubled early on. His energy was important for ECU.
Yeah, he's such a big part of what they've done here, over the past few years. And great to see him out there. Be interested to see again if he plays both games today. I would bet against it, but good to see him out there for this one.
This is off the end of Burris's bat, and a diving catch. Detlefson robs a double.
Really nice catch by Detlefson in left field, and again, it kind of off the end of the bat of Braden Burris hangs up just enough, and Detlefson goes kind of full Superman on this, and you'll see it here just off the end of the bat a little bit.
Bringing her web gems to this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, great play.
We told you UTSA will rotate defenders all over the field. Detlefson's played all 3 outfield spots, but makes a nice play there. And here's Jack Herring, who had the 2-hit game. He goes first pitch hacking off the glove of Miller, and everyone's safe. An early base runner for the Pirates.
I will tell you, if I'm not mistaken, and I may have the timestamp wrong on this, but since that UNC Charlotte series with Jack Herring, the pinch hit AB that Coach Godwin's talked a lot about, Jack Herring has been on a bit of a tear for these Pirates, and this obviously is an error, but still hitting the ball hard, getting it off the barrel, a couple knocks last night. He's a guy that has been a welcome surprise to the offensive party for the Pirates.
You're onto something with Herring here. That hit streak continues. Hits now in 9 of his last 10. Williams in this left-on-left matchup lays off. He changed his bat from last night. Had more of a maple bat. He goes prime gold on senior day. I don't know if there's anything to that. We'll see how it affects Williams, who continues to swing the bat well. 308, including 2 more hits yesterday. And he takes strike 1. Dixon, one of 5 seniors honored pregame here at Clark LeClaire Stadium. Miles to the breaking pitch, and there's a base hit. 3rd knock of the series for Williams, and 2 on early in this first inning.
Yeah, Pirates got a little something working after the great diving catch by the left fielder. But back-to-back Pirates reach base.
Williams thriving in the middle of this lineup. That's hit 54 for Dixon. And now from a senior to a young rising star, Austin Irby, hitting cleanup today. The left-hander lays off Connor Miles.
You know what's interesting, and I had to check myself, although I felt like I was pretty on point on this, but Dixon Williams is a junior being honored on senior day, so I guess the statement there is
he did graduate yesterday.
Yeah, he did graduate, and it was enough to make me look at it and go, wait a minute, you know what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know that kid pretty well.
With him growing up in the same city that you call home, Mike, here in Greenville. Line out to center there for Austin Irby going first pitch hacking. And here for East Carolina's offense, a 2-out chance for Colby Wallace. Colby had a hit in that 4-run 8th last night where ECU had the tying run on but got thrown out at the plate. Chance Hall tried to score on a wild pitch. And Wallace lays off. Colby now the top home run hitter in this East Carolina attack, as home runs across the country are slightly down from a year ago.
And what's strange about that, and I haven't looked at it, you may know off the top of your head, Ed, but I would venture a guess that scoring is up. Because we've seen some games not only with East Carolina, but throughout the ACC, different places that have been football scores on a very regular basis. You used to get those kind of at the beginning of the season, but now you're seeing them kind of sprinkled throughout.
Miller with the snag. Here's a foot race. And Miles hangs on. Yeah, nationally scoring is up, but home runs are a bit down. Right now, though, it's a 2-out knock for UTSA, the difference. 1-0 early as the Pirates strand 2 after the first.
I'm good event.
Here's Pat Hallmark in year 6. UTSA back-to-back 30-win seasons, but this year's club's on the verge of setting a program record for wins, thanks in large part to an impressive non-conference resume.
Yeah, I mean, the job he's done there and the style of baseball that they play, they build a team around their ballpark. Everybody you talk to talks about what a difference that facility makes and how it plays and different things. And they build teams around that, and it's obviously paid off quite well.
So Jake Hunter tasked with the second inning. He threw in the 9th last night. And he grooves in a strike here to Drew Detlefson, one of the extra base hit leaders in the American Conference. 15 doubles, 13 home runs, a breakout year for the Dodge City Community College transfer. Where in 2 years, he clobbered over 200 hits at Dodge City. That success has translated very well.
You know, that's one of those deals hitters just hit, you know, it kind of regardless of the level. And there is obviously a higher pace of play, you know, at the Division I level than the JUCO level, as far as you're going to see better arms day in, day out, faster runners, those types of things. But guys that can hit just seem to find a way to hit.
And we have seen programs across the country. Think of Rome Kellis at Carolina, who comes in from a JUCO level. He's an all-AACC standout. At any level, you find the right amount of talent, it can translate. Jake Hunter, the 4-year starter, against junior college transfer Drew Detlefson, who chops the 1-2 to third. Wallace makes a quick turn, and there's one away. And you know, Mike, from your experience coaching at the junior college level, the talent's there. It's about developing and finding them.
Well, let me tell you something. The talent has always been there in certain amounts. The talent that is there now and will be there in the immediate future is truly exponential. Talking with coaches this week, as you know, a lot of Division I programs are starting to have meetings, you know, exit meetings with kids that aren't maybe not rostered, different levels of the program. These players that are trickling down to the junior college level, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that. It truly will have a lot more of a minor league feel than it ever has, and it's always kind of had that feel anyway. So the talent's got to go somewhere as these rosters get trimmed.
Especially here in Region 10, there's a lot of talent at these schools locally at the JUCO level. And then with some litigation that may, in fact, preserve eligibility for junior college players. That will open up some older players at the Division I level.
Yeah, and if people are unclear on what F's saying there has been already a ruling, a precedent established that a football player was granted an extra year of eligibility, saying that his junior college year didn't work against him. I've talked with folks on both sides of it that one in particular says no, and this is a guy that is in the know, says no, that's not going to be the way it is going forward. But then you hear people on the other side saying, hey, yeah, it may not count against them. So theoretically you could get 2 years of college baseball plus college credits and not have affected your 5 years to play 4 at the Division I level. So who knows, amongst all the things that are going on right now in college athletics, who knows how that'll work out.
As the freshman Jordan Ballin pops up to left, he finds a freshman counterpart. Those two aren't too worried about course matriculation just yet. I was a junior college guy myself. Los Angeles Harbor College. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed coaching at the junior college level from the standpoint of there are a lot less rules, if you will, as far as contact time and practice time and different things. And so you get young guys there that really want to play, really want to improve, need to, they have a tool or maybe a couple tools they know they really need to focus on, and you can pour the time, energy, and effort into it because you're not so governed by practice days and how many hours you could be with them and those things. So it's kind of he who works hardest wins at that level.
Ty Hodge, the starting shortstop, who partnered with his brother Nathan last night on the infield, takes a strike. Ty, the Houston Christian transfer, is now in his third school in 3 years. Texas A&M, Houston Christian, and here UTSA. A&M with a tough loss last night, snapping Missouri's winless SEC slate. They were 0-24 until yesterday.
So what's your guess on the Mississippi State job?
That's a great question. I think the interim, if he makes the regional, might get an opportunity to preserve the full job. But that's not as exciting as giving you a name, so I'll think that over here during this half inning. As a pop-up to second creates some late collision. Johnson slides into Dixon. Good news, Williams is okay, and he makes the catch. We'll go to the bottom of the second. A quick work for Jake Hunter on his senior day. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. Here's an ECU alum, Cliff Godwin, leading his program. He's 3 wins away from passing a dear friend of this program, Dr. Gary Overton, for the all-time wins mark. Cliff hoping to accomplish that in the next couple of days. And here's Godwin's team now at 500 in the league. A lot to play for these last 2 weeks, gearing up for the conference tournament. An ECU program that watched UTSA win the regular season title last night. And here on senior day, a bit of energy early as one of their seniors, Riley Johnson, gets things started here in the second. He goes first pitch hacking. Johnson to center. Lytle can't get there. And this rolls to the warning track. Riley's got some wheels. A triple on Johnson's mind. What a start on senior day.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's nice to see Riley Johnson do these things, and he's just done so many electric things for this program, be it great defensive plays, situations like that. Big bunts we've seen, big 2-strike hits, 2-out hits, but here he gets to kind of show it off on senior day, and kind of a tweener play by the center fielder Lytle. He stuck in between right fielder a little bit late getting into the frame, and I really believe back in the day with 100% healthy Riley Johnson, you may see him sliding head first into home, but Coach Galvin makes a decision to hold him at third base, and always cool to see him do special things.
From one multi-year senior to a first-year senior addition, John Collins, the ground out that drives in a run. So this game's tied on the RBI.
Yeah, Collins comes up, sees the infield's backs early in the game, and UTSA with a 1-run lead knows that, hey, man, all I got to do is hit a ground ball and, somewhere in the middle, and I'll score Riley Johnson to tie this thing up, and he does just that.
Those are the quality at-bats the Pirates lacked early yesterday against Zach Royce. A furious comeback late, but not enough. And now in game 2, both teams strike early. Here's a third straight senior, Alex Boucher. Or pardon me, a junior. My apologies.
Hey, look, man, it's very difficult to keep up with what year, whoever it, because he's been here for one season. But
yeah, redshirt junior. Those always trick me. That pitch stays inside. We have gotten through the COVID class, quote unquote. So
yes.
Your typical 5th and 6th year seniors are largely gone.
Well, going back to what you were talking about with the JUCO stuff, can you imagine a kid gets out of high school, 19 years old, he plays JUCO until he's 21, then he comes, you're going to have 26, 27-year-old grown men, out playing college sports if that becomes the legislation. I don't know, again, how far that'll go, but just the evolution of college athletics.
And here I thought rugby-style punters from Australia were old-time veterans in college football. 28, 29-year-old punters, including one here in Greenville.
Yeah, he left as well, and he was, I think, when Luke left, at 32 maybe, something like that. So, yeah, play as long as you can.
Van Wilder would be jealous as Boucher goes down swinging, 2 away.
Boucher had a great series there at Wichita State at the plate, and just kind of comes and goes for him. And, the book on him is the breaking ball, is the soft away, and you see they just go with it right there and can't lay off.
7 hits for Boucher in that series. He was a monster on the bases. He hits in the 8th spot today, is now the 9-hole hitter. Walker Barron takes a strike. His throw that was just a bit late to tag out the speedster Mason Lytle. Then UTSA scored a 2-out knock back in the 1st inning.
The Region 10 tournament is actually going on right now in Burlington at the Pro Park there, the Division II side. So a lot of guys there with aspirations would love to play for either one of these teams that we're getting an opportunity to watch today.
Those tournaments are always fantastic. Both at the regional level, then the 2 levels of junior college national championships. Barron pokes one the other way. And Tauzik with plenty of space in front of that student section and right. 2 quick innings for Connor Miles, both starters holding their own through 2. First of a doubleheader. We'll go to the 3rd on ESPN+. Here's what's cooking for the Roadrunners of UTSA, on the verge of their best season in program history. Now, interesting note, UTSA did not submit a bid to host a region this year. However, the resume looks like a very impressive 2 seed coming up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, kind of talking about their facility again is I just don't think their facility's ready to host, although their ball club clearly would be in the conversation. But look at the wins. Texas A&M and Dallas Baptist, all teams that should be in the postseason at some level. So, yeah, they've had a great year, and watching them last year, you could kind of watch them building into what they have out there now.
That 21 RPI is a great number when you get to Selection Monday on Memorial Day. There was a day last year the Pirates actually had known their fate. They were selected as a region host the night before. Now in the American, UTSA most likely for sure in, and then the rest it'll depend on the tournament. As Jake Hunter misses low and in to Garrett Gruhl, the DH. From an RPI standpoint, 4 in the top 100 in this conference. FAU at 56, most likely off the bubble, but there's been some conversation. There's a slow chopper to Wallace. Colby takes care of business, 1 away, and a nice start here for Jake Hunter.
Yeah, no question. I'll tell you something that Colby Wallace really does a great job of is creating the bounce that he wants. And sometimes, and typically, you like to see your infielders come get balls, but you saw Colby there with a little drop step and able to get himself a nice long hop and get his feet set and make a firm throw.
The talented sophomore third baseman playing a lot of time at third this year. Rotated at first early in his career. So this ball's hit on the ground to the right side. There's Dixon Williams. So Jake Hunter now 4 innings in this series, just 1 run allowed.
Yeah, boy, he has given his team what they need today. I mean, quite honestly, at this point, you would consider it a success that he's gotten you 1 2/3. If he can get you, man, if he could get you through the 3rd inning, what a shot in the arm for the Pirate pitching staff.
Worth noting, he threw just 9 pitches last night, so wasn't overly taxed in that scoreless 9th. Mason Lytle takes downstairs, the very patient 2-hole hitter. More walks than Ks this year. For the 2nd leader in on-base percentage in the entire conference. Lytle with a nice poke over the leaping Boucher.
I just took a quick scan of that UTSA roster, and I'd looked at it before. I mean, they've got guys from all over the place, like we'd mentioned, but about 12 or 13 JUCO guys on this Roadrunner team. So, again, kind of to the point, it seems like a JUCO-themed broadcast at this point, but I do think it's such a big part of where baseball's going.
Lytle took a unique route. JUCO up to D1, back to JUCO, and then over here to UTSA. I love stories like that. Players who eventually find the right fit. From San Jacinto College to Oregon, then back to the junior college level.
And that program at San Jac is one of the perennial powers. I mean, they crank them out, places like that. Chipola, not just, the Region 10 schools as we talked about, which proud history there as well with, both the private and the community colleges. You've got the Lewisburgs and at one time Spartanburg Methodist, now going NAIA. But
is Brunswick Region 10 as well?
Yeah, Brunswick Community College, Pitt Community College, Gaston. I mean, it goes on and on with really, really good programs.
James Tauzik is so powerful that Herring is sitting on the track waiting for the 6'6" left-hander.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting defensive positioning there. I mean, if it goes over his head, it's on the practice football field.
Same could be said for Burris in left. He's equally hugging the track. Riley's the one giving him a bit of respect, playing about 385 back there in center field. Yeah, that's a unique shift.
With his swing, it's such a flat swing. It doesn't produce the high arcing, hit it over a high rise kind of ball flight.
It has led to 9 home runs, including a 2-run shot yesterday. I do wonder at the next level if scouts or teams will try to change his swing path.
They may. I mean, but it's quite honestly, body type wise, there's a little Aaron Judge feel to it, but the swing is not what I would consider the typical, pretty left-handed stroke like you think of a Will Clark or a number of others, but there's just raw juice in it.
the former All-Big South, All-CUSA standout, might make his way into an All-AAC, which would be a neat all-conference player in 4 years.
Just hard to believe, isn't it?
That's the next iteration, right?
That's
it's like
just hard to believe.
Who could be the 4-time all-conference guy at 4 different schools, in theory, or 4 leagues, both between realignment and then transfer portal?
It's getting a little chippy over there with Irby and Lytle at first base. There's been a couple exchanges, and there you see the first base coach kind of mention it to the umpire, but Irby certainly giving him a little love.
A couple of 5'10" firecrackers getting their words in. As that pitch stays up in the zone. An emotional end to last night's game. UTSA winning the regular season title. East Carolina knocking on the door those final 2 innings, but coming up 3 runs short. Stauzik fights one away.
You know, when you looked at the as the schedule came out and you kind of go up and down and go, okay, big series, you know, you looked out for the Pirates and you saw this one at home, and then obviously next weekend USF, and knowing that, or at least feeling like those 3 programs would all be in the mix for potentially winning the conference. It was something certainly worth looking forward to, but UTSA just kind of ran away with it and took care of business ultimately last night.
A pop-up on 3-2. Williams tracks it down. And to your point, the Roadrunners doing their part. ECU trying to even this series as we move forward on this Saturday afternoon. Bottom of the third coming up. 1-1 game early.
We call it drive. The unrelenting desire to become the person you were born to be. Ignited by a moment. The realization that a future you could only dream of is within reach. At East Carolina University, you won't just imagine a path. You'll forge one through hard work and the success that comes without surrender. The journey that leads to your future. And this is where it begins.
There's only one way to win. It doesn't have shortcuts. It's a spirit to outwork, outsmart, and outlast the competition.
Catch me if you can.
It demands boldness, grit, and guts. It says we can, and we will. It's what separates us from the rest. There's only one way to greatness, and that's the American way.
Here in Greenville, North Carolina, the host Pirates 15-12 at home. Or Clark LeClaire, big series here against UTSA, of course. And that number 1-7 in quad 1 games. These will qualify as 3 big quad 1 games. I think more than anything for the Pirates finding momentum heading into the conference tournament.
Yeah, when would you think an RPI at 85 for East Carolina, and Coach Godwin does such a masterful job at managing that, but it only works out if, you win those games. With the 1-7 quad 1, that's maybe the most surprising stat of the year.
And that one win, the Virginia Tech matchup in the LeClaire Classic. Hokies, unfortunately, have lost 5 straight. They're on the bubble quickly. In a year where winning 13 SEC games might get you in, there's a lot of bubble talk of lingering 500-level SEC, ACC programs.
Tell you what, that SEC, they just beat each other to death. And it's amazing the number, again, of run rule games we've seen in both those conferences out of really, really good teams that, project even potentially reach to Omaha.
Nice snag at third off the Burris liner. And one away, including, I think about NC State across the street, right? They've been run ruled 3 times in the ACC, and yet are now in first place in the league.
Right, it's crazy. I saw something going into the weekend. They would have been the 2 seed, but now have overtaken that. And, who knows? Who knows with this game? Great play there by the third baseman, McClure, and get a pretty good runner in Braden Burris.
One away in the third. Another first pitch swing. Pirates being very aggressive in the box today. Jack Herring had a great night yesterday and then reached his first time up. That was ruled a single. So one of the 3 hits. Yesterday, Royce was very similar in being efficient with pitches. 103 after 7 innings. And from there, it was absolute madness for both teams' bullpens. A lot of offense late. Sure, a great gem between Norby and Royce as that pitch stays up. Nice take from the Pirates switch hitter, so it's 2-2. All 3 in the top of Cliff Godwin's lineup. More walks than strikeouts. A lineup that has been tough to get out at the top of this order. Make it 3-2.
Again, since that Charlotte series, this is something that Jack Herring has kind of made a living doing, is put together tough ABs. Battled himself back from an 0-2 count in this situation.
Fights to 3-2. Tips it foul, so the matchup continues. Just through Stuckey's mitt. And a smart dab. We got a doubleheader today, so every kid needs a gulp of water halfway through. Two's fouled off. This is game 2 of a 4-game homestand to wrap up the home slate for East Carolina this year, including a Tuesday game against Campbell. That's the last home game on the docket. So the 3-2 misses down. Quality at bat for Jack Herring.
Yeah, really good at bat for Jack. And again, was buried 0-2 in the count and found a way to work out a walk. You know, if it's such an exciting time around amateur baseball at large, where you've got obviously the collegiate level and some of the lower levels, the D2s and 3s, some of those tournaments are underway and some are even completed, and they're just waiting on where they go for regionals and for their next step in the postseason. But high school teams are at it hard with, you know, in the middle of state playoffs. And, I mean, it's just a fun time. You know, it's also interesting, we're at the college level where amongst a lot of schools have a graduation, as is the case here at East Carolina. And interesting at Chapel Hill this weekend, graduation today, therefore they moved no game today. They played Thursday, Friday, and we'll pick it up on Sunday for the conclusion of that series. So just a fun time again around all of
and I think part of that is
baseball.
Mia Hamm's the commencement speaker.
Well,
the Olympian, the gold medalist.
Yeah.
I would shut down a baseball game and listen to Mia Hamm's words of wisdom. It's her first time back since winning 4 national titles in 4 years at Carolina.
That's pretty good, I think.
One of the best to ever do it in professional soccer. Dixon Williams takes a big hack, 2-0.
Well, that's exactly what you want to do right there. 2-0s on 1 up, and see if you can get off a big swing and potentially give your team a chance to take the lead with a home run, which Dixon, 10 of them on the year, more than capable.
So Miles' 2-1 pitch left in the heart of the zone. Williams down the line, tracking foul off that sidewall.
You know, and all year we've seen teams really pound Dixon in kind of underneath the hands, and UTSA, at least to this point, taking a little bit of a different approach. But let's see where they'll go to try to finish him off.
Here's pitch 38 for the Australian native, Connor Miles. Goes inside. Williams pitches one to left. Nice catch for Detlefson. We talked about graduation. UTSA will have their commencement next Sunday with the day off for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So a good weekend there for the Roadrunners.
Well, and what really makes it obvious here at Clark LeClaire is when you look over to right field and the student section is pretty much empty, and normally that's a pretty rowdy crowd. But
that'd be a hot ticket a week prior.
Yeah, Tausig out there, he's getting the day off. He doesn't realize how fortunate he is that there's so much going on. Now we got a little conversation with the umpire, and Miles not happy about something.
So Coach Hallmark has a question for David May behind the plate.
I'm wondering if Miles inappropriately, and I quite honestly had kind of looked away. I wonder if Miles inappropriately went to the rosin bag and something maybe touched the rubber. I don't know. There's rules about when you can do those things. But whatever it is, it's settled, and Miles certainly took exception to the home plate umpire's comment.
We got a lot of baseball today. Let's keep everyone on good terms as there's ball one. Irby and Burris, two of the multiple freshmen that get a ton of playing time in Cliff Godwin's lineup, 2 of 20 in this freshman class. And coaches talk about it so much. This time of year, freshmen start to become sophomores in this late postseason stretch. Here's Irby's 160th at-bat of his young season, fighting off 2-0.
Yeah, that's a heck of a workload for a true freshman, and going through the acclimation and all that it takes to become a collegiate baseball player. So for him to have been able to kind of weather the storm and stay in the lineup every day is quite frankly fairly impressive.
This is a big swing. Irby, the freshman. Tausig has space. He brings it back. Needed every inch of 6-6 to rob a homer.
Tausig went kind of Statue of Liberty on that play. Got back there, found the wall, used those go-go gadget arms, and brings that one back.
So last half inning, here's where wingspan and height make things look so easy.
You'll watch him go back, and I said it's kind of Statue of Liberty. You know what he looks like, Ev? He looks like the dad playing on the little Nerf basketball goal, just taller than everybody. Nobody can get it anyway. But you see no panic at all. Finds the wall, got it. I mean, that ball's definitely out of the ballpark by a couple feet, and he's able to make that look very, very routine.
The 6-6, James Tausig robs a home run and keeps this game tied here in the fourth. First pitch hacking. Busy day for Colby Wallace over at third. And here's Jake Hunter nearing 5 innings of 1 run in the series.
Yeah, 4 at this point there, but he is rolling right along for sure. It is, quite frankly, this is just a gutsy kind of senior performance. Like, give me the ball, coach, and let me see what I can do. And kind of try to keep us around. And, you know, I'm sure he would like to, you know, he's going to cherish this opportunity to stay out there as long as he can, knowing that this is probably or most likely his last appearance at home, you know, not knowing what's going to happen in the Tuesday game. And looking at the forecast for the weather,
that could change.
Tuesday game looks questionable at best.
So if you are in the local area, today may be a good day to come out and see the Pirates for the last time at home. Guess you never know. We'll check the forecast Monday and get a better idea. I love those days you turn on. It's like, oh, it's 3.5 inches of rain the next day. Well, it's actually only 0.2 inches.
It just missed us.
I think that rainstorm just hit us. Ventured through the eastern part of the state. Stays away to Norris McClure.
Yeah, that little storm that rolled through last night was very, very isolated. There were parts of town that didn't get it. Obviously, it hit here pretty heavily, and some of the other high school games in the area had to be postponed for a little bit. But
a line drive base hit for McClure. Now 4 hits for the Roadrunners today. And this is a team that just hits the baseball, 6th in the country in batting average because of at-bats like this.
Yeah, this is just an example of taking a pitch as it's kind of offered to you and not trying to do more than you can with it. Just drives it through that 5.5 hole for a clean single.
Since we didn't work together last week, that was a lightsaber swing on May the 4th.
Yeah, how about that?
Just a week later. I feel like you and I would have had some fun on that game.
Well, you know, that May the 4th deal is almost like Valentine's Day. Like, what a fabricated, you know, not holiday, but a day of mention. But I guess that's kind of where we're at, right? Everything is – I heard on the way over here today is National Clean Your Room Day.
Oh, sounds like a parent made up that one.
I think exactly. Probably a mother who said tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I'm going to say the day before is Clean Your Room.
Very fitting. 1-0 to Drew Detlefson. He's now second in this American Conference in RBI, 64 coming in.
Yeah, and 13 home runs.
No shortage of offense for Pat Hallmark's club. Lead the league in 8 categories. Similar to what East Carolina did a year ago with 46 wins. Their offense was magnificent. Jacob Jenkins-Cowart, a healthy Riley Johnson, Carter Cunningham anchoring that attack. And now it's the Roadrunners off to a blistering 38-win start. This could be 2. Williams turns it just a bit late on the bounce, so fielder's choice.
You know, I mentioned earlier what a great job Kobe Wallace did on drop stepping and creating a decent hop for himself. You'll see it again here with Boucher. See a little top spin hop. He has to give ground. Nice job there.
So with 2 outs, the inning continues. Jordan Ballin, the spark plug. He's back from a nagging injury the last 2 weeks, making an impact on the middle infield. Ballin came off the bench last night, had 2 hits. Late in that game, one of 5 pitch hitters for the versatile Pat Hallmark's lineup.
I mean, is that a great last name or what? Ballin.
You would think he'd be more of a hooper than a baseball player, but I do like it.
He's still balling.
Two outs for Jake Hunter. Forces weak contact. Dixon. Oh, smart play. Finding his middle infield counterpart. And a quick toss to end the threat. So Dixon Williams helping out the Pirates. We got a 1-1 game through 3.5. We've talked all week about UTSA's ability to be a dangerous team in the tournament. Well, 9 top 50 wins certainly help for Coach Hallmark's resume. Now, what UTSA's done as well is schedule well to complement those numbers. And 105 is part of the story, but have played well against the best competition.
Yeah, when that's part of the algorithm that puts you in a position for your post-season seeding. So, some of that strength of schedule is quite frankly because of the conference and the strength that the conference teams carry or don't carry, depending on what your view of it is. So, some things they can control, some things they can't, but certainly the games that they've scheduled against the better competition, they've had a very high level of success.
Colby Wallace pops this one up to a candidate for Player of the Year here in the American. Lytle makes the catch. An East Carolina program that's won the regular season title 5 years straight. UTSA, the first team since Houston in 2018 to take that mark. And that poor little girl has a cast on her arm. She's a trooper. And she might be a pooper. Mom had to check. Everything clears. I want to know how that girl hurt her arm. She doesn't seem to sit still. That might be part of the formula.
Yes, a lot of them don't at that age.
Is that your tip for me as a future parent? Keep the kid at close proximity?
Well, they'll bounce back. They're resilient, so whatever happens, they'll be okay.
With Mike Mullis, I'm EvanBudrovich. Here's Riley Johnson making his way back from injury. His 11th game, 10th start, and he almost gets hit.
Tell you what, we saw at the end of the inning a couple innings ago. He and Dixon Williams kind of get together out in center field. And anytime there's contact anywhere near Riley Johnson, it's kind of a hold-your-breath moment with all that he's been through.
Ended last season playing through injury and is working his way back. Then aggravated a different injury early this season and after a couple of games. So he's now, quote-unquote, at his best and takes strike one. I say that because Riley's always playing through some type of pain. He's not 100%, but playing well. A line out to ball and 2 away.
If I'm playing through a little pain today myself, and I honestly thought on the way here, I was like, what would Riley Johnson do? Like he would, he would man up and go, hey, go do your job, and so that's what we're doing. But yeah, it never ceases to amaze me all that he goes through just to be able to take the field, and then you get the production you get from him. He's a special player.
4-year starter for Cliff Godwin and a true veteran in the sense, overcoming so much. Here's John Collins. He takes a huge hack. Collins' RBI ground out tied this game back in the second inning. And this is John's first start of the weekend for the Boston College transfer. Don't look now, but Boston College with Todd Interdonato, they are right back in the bubble conversation. BC's won their last 2 conference series. Notre Dame has snuck back into the picture. This time of year, teams can get hot and surprise you. Think back to 3 years ago when the Pirates won 20 straight in the regular season and eventually made it to a team that was maybe off the bubble entering the month of May.
Yeah, that was one of the most miraculous runs I've ever seen, and they did it by piecing together, kind of pieces and parts truly of a pitching staff that was fairly beat up. And you had guys, Danny Bilk stands out in my mind of a guy who ate a lot of innings for that club and gave their team the opportunity to do what they ultimately did. But
Bill's now second in career innings in his Pirate history, just graduated a year ago as Collins fights off the 2-2.
Danny will get the ball tonight for the let me get this right, the Down East Bird Dogs over in Kinston, a Frontier League independent professional team. And Danny Bill will take the mound for them as a starter, which will be a new experience for him.
Wow, Collins touches one well into the Pirate bullpen.
Evan, if Collins touches it, he typically touches it well. He hits the ball so hard, and we saw him last time. He comes up with an RBI opportunity, just needed the ground ball, but you know, he kind of like Talsig, the big right fielder for UTSA, doesn't elevate the ball a whole lot, but can certainly hit it a long ways and very hard.
A major league pop-up to Talsig. And quick work for Connor Miles. Both pitchers very effective through 4 innings. We'll go to the 5th in game 2 in this pitcher's duel. We're rolling in the 5th inning here in game 1 of this doubleheader. Cliff Godwin in pursuit of one of the legends here. Dr. Gary Overton is still very involved with the program for the all-time wins record. Cliff in double-figure years, fresh off hosting a regional here in Greenville, and his program hovered around 500 here in 2025. As Cliff now at 424. He'll have some chances here down the stretch. Right now, 1-1 game here in the 5th. And there's Cliff coming out from his perch. Always a good clipboard for any head coach. So if coaches don't keep traditional lineup cards like we do, how do they keep track of who's hitting where and everything?
Yeah, I mean, you've got your notes, and you almost throw me off with the question, but no, there's tons of note taking in the dugout, and you got your lineup card up there, and there's a scorebook in there most of the time.
There's a base hit for Ty Hodge to start the inning. I guess they don't keep a book like we do, a traditional book.
Some of them, I mean, we have one in our dugout at the high school level now. And and quite frankly, I think of just about everywhere I've ever been, you have a manager or somebody will kind of keep a book so you know where you're at and where they're at. There's charts, tons of charts in there for
charts,
pitchers charts, and spray charts, all kinds of stuff.
No, it's unique to see how these coaches approach it. So many different ways to skin a cat. And Jake Hunter in his senior day has grinded through 4+ after throwing 1 inning last night. He'll face Garrett Gruhl in the 9 spot.
And for the first time today, the Pirates have some action up in their pen. Looks like a right-hander warming. Not quite sure who it is.
How about this matchup of mustaches between Gruhl and Hunter? Both are well endowed.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I would say Jake Hunter's mustache is quite
luscious.
It's much better than Gruhl's. Yeah, Jake Hunter actually had the mustache march. He was the poster boy for that, so we'll give the nod to him.
There's Brad Pruitt warming up. Another strong stash. I like that the facial hair has transitioned from March through the postseason run now as well.
I could say I don't remember Hunter without a mustache. I mean, I don't know as a freshman if he was that guy, but
we'll have to dig deep in the archives of pictures to find maybe one of his first appearances back in 2022. Keeping tabs on the running game. Yeah, all 4 years of his bio picture, he's had a mullet, he's had long flowing hair, different chin beards, but always a mustache every year. chop foul. Gruel stays alive. Ron Burgundy would be proud of that facial hair. Jake Hunter living up to it here in his senior year. And putting on a masterful performance on short rest. Did he get a swing? Did not. It's 2-2. Close take.
Tell you what, he went absolutely as far as you could go and not be called a strikeout. Let's see here. I'm not so sure he didn't go. I mean, that's could have gone either way for sure.
Michael Parnell says no. 2-2 got him swinging. One pitch later, Hunter takes care of it. 2 away.
Ball don't lie.
Second strikeout for Hunter. First out of the inning.
See it here, big breaking ball just swings right through it.
Caden Miller, who wore 29 last night, but in the orange jerseys, he has 34, so he'll wear that today. The story around the program is that uniform might be missing at a road team's ballpark in the American Conference. Roadrunners aren't exactly sure who has 29 in the blue, but they have 34 in the orange. Hard hit. It skips the runner. Williams makes a nice play to second, and the Pirates almost turned 2 there. I'm actually shocked that ball didn't hit Hodge on the way to Williams.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there for what was an otherwise kind of routine ground ball, but nice play by Dixon to get there, especially with the obstruction of the runner across him. We just see it just does miss him, and nice job by Dixon to get the lead out. Good effort on the turn, but not nearly enough to get Miller.
And with Hunter between the 2 days, now at 71 pitches, he's actually in a good spot to not only finish this inning, but maybe give you 6. We'll see. As Mason Lytle's up, he's been on twice. First pitch hacking, that'll help. Burris tracking in. The freshman's got a long way to go, but he makes the catch. And 5 effective innings on Jake Hunter's senior day. A good pitcher's duel continues. Jake Hunter, Connor Miles. Just 1 run surrendered by each as we go to the 5th. Welcome back. As UTSA, these are the latest projections by D1 Baseball. Just 2 weeks left, so you get an ideal sense. Roadrunners projected as a 2 seed. And Texas, who's battling Florida, they lost last night, so they may drop from that #1 ranking. But moral of the story for UTSA, you're on that 2 line and could go anywhere here in the next few weeks.
You know what? You're just happy to go wherever the wind takes you at that point. So but it'd be a cool thing for them to be in the state, and obviously, we being the Pirate fans have had an up close look at the Longhorns, and they're a super talented club. Obviously, not the same club we saw here, but still perennial powerhouse.
That was a fantastic super 3 years ago. Came down to Game 3 on a rain-induced Monday night. Alex Boucher, 8-9-1 in the Pirate lineup as he's down on the changeup 0-2. And you're right, Miles is living low and away today.
Yeah, it's just soft stuff away to Boucher. And even if they come in, it's kind of for effect and typically out of the zone. But you see a lot of fingers normally mean something soft, and you saw it there from the catcher.
Miles, who actually had not gone more than 6 in all but one start, he's been typically a 3-4 inning guy, getting some extended length today. And keep in mind, a doubleheader. Both teams used a number of arms last night out of the pen. And UTSA, because of the comeback, had to burn Orlovsky. He threw 3 innings in reserve. He's the top reliever for the Roadrunners. That's down the middle, strike 3. Boucher goes down looking.
Yeah, it definitely starts down the middle, kind of gets in on Boucher underneath the hands, but that's the that's the benefit of being able to stay soft away with your stuff, and you get a guy looking out there, and then you just kind of, bust it back in as that thing's running in towards the back knee of Boucher. Pretty good sequence there by Miles.
Only the second K for Miles. He's lived on soft contact today. Here's harder contact and a base hit. Barron, the opposite field single. And this reminds me so much of last night. Which team can finally break through here in the 5th?
Yeah, again, just kind of take what you're given. Miles is going to stay away. I'll take away and just drive it through that hole and pass the baton back to the next guy. Big part is it flips the lineup and brings the top of this Pirate offense to the plate.
Braden Burris hovering around 400 as a hitter here in his freshman campaign. Elects to pull back the bunt, working ahead in the count. Burris, who's now second in the American in batting average, is putting on a prolific first year. Not a ton of extra base hits, but a consistent threat. He trails Jordan Bolin, who's his second base counterpart for batting average leaders in this conference. Chopped off Burris's back foot.
You see some Roadrunner scurrying down to the bullpen as
the only way I imagine a Roadrunner would move is scurrying, right? Think of the actual sitcom animal. Wiley the Coyote. Meet me. We'll see how quickly Coach Pat Hallmark utilizes his pen today.
Something we haven't seen from Miles, at least that I can recall to this point in his outing, is a pick move, or at least a legitimate effort at a pick move to first base. Again, going back to those charts that are in the Pirate dugout, I'm sure they have a great scouting report if he does have a kind of plus pick move. But
Miles to the plate. Burris chops it foul. And a UTSA staff that does not allow a ton of stolen bases either. They'll work the ball and play quickly. I've only surrendered 34 steals all year.
Well, you kind of see it here. Of course, Miles has the catcher and Barron at first base. Barron, a good runner. Legs have to be feeling it a little bit this deep in the season, but Miles does a nice job of kind of mixing his looks. He'll hold it for a little longer count. You saw there a little quicker leg lift and kick. So that's another key to the success of limiting those opportunities for these base runners to try to steal a bag. Most bases are stolen off of the pitcher, and give your catcher a chance if you mix the looks and kind of keep that base runner uncomfortable over there.
Here's Miles 1-2. That just stays up. Even count to Burris. who's 0 for 2 with 2 hard hit outs today.
Good job by Burris of laying off that pitch.
Braden's nearing 30 walks in his freshman year. This is his 39th start, forcing Miles to pitch 69. That's hit hard and a snag by Miller. There's one. No throw, so a fielder's choice.
A good play by Miller there, losing his glasses in the process, but bounces out, good defensive positioning, and has to clear that throwing lane to get it out there to his middle infielder, but no opportunity to double up the speedy Burris in that situation.
It's a good call on the slide, too. It avoids the interference that could make that an automatic double play, possibly, if you slide late or interfere with the throwing player.
A little move over there, and still not convinced that that is his best move.
Burris does have great speed. Leads the Pirates, him and Williams, in stolen bases. 14 now for Braden.
You know, a lot of times when you see these kind of half-effort moves over to first base, you know, it's just a precursor to setting you up for the good one. And Burris is a guy that they definitely have to worry about at first.
There's a swing for Jack Herring. Couldn't hold up. Is this a spot for Cliff Godwin? Do you consider the stolen base here?
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the guy that played in Herring that's, you know, having some success. So if you were to go here, it needs to be thrown out. You give Herring a fresh count. I think you're going to have to do something to push the issue.
Another look over, third attempt.
You see the aggression, the reciprocal hard tag by Miller over at first, considering we saw and mentioned earlier that Lytle was getting the hard tag from Irby. So see Jeff Palumbo step in there with a little comment, and we'll see if the first base umpire intervenes at any point.
Now to the plate. Rocketed right center. Herring a base hit. Here comes the speed of Burris. He's going to the plate. Burris scores, Pirates lead.
I'll tell you what, give a lot of credit to the deke. I don't know if we'll pick it up on camera because, quite frankly, it wasn't something that most people would probably pay attention to, but a great deke by Cliff Godwin down at third base, and I'll tell you what I mean here in a second, but good piece of hitting. He continues to have a quality of bats as Jack Herring and manages to get that one all the way out to the warning track before it's cut off by the center fielder. But as Burris is rounding third, he never makes the effort to send him. You see where Coach Godwin right there in frame comes up, and they have worked that out. And if he's walking up past the third base coach's box, he's not giving you the go sign because he's not trying to speed up the defense. It's a nice, quiet way of saying score hard. Pretty good deal that UTSA had no idea. Matter of fact, almost surprised the cutoff man that indeed Burris was scoring.
That's next level coaching there from Cliff Godwin, trusting his legs of Burris and putting them to good use. So Herring's double makes it 2-1 East Carolina. Here's Dixon Williams. Gets a pitch up in the zone, can't capitalize there.
Yeah, never once did Coach Godwin give a wave or anything. He goes up and is kind of nonchalantly pointing to second base, and somewhere in there is part of their system that it means, hey, you're green, score.
Williams chasing the heat, and Connor Miles gets out of it. However, an impressive 2-out knock for Jack Herring. His third hit of the series gives East Carolina the early lead. Gorgeous day here at Clark LeClaire Stadium, and the bats have come to life this last inning for East Carolina. Great temperatures on hand. Final home series for the Pirates here in American play. And a 2-1 lead thanks to a 2-out knock from Jack Herring. Ooh, those are creative. I like the purple and gold overall touch right there. And the hat. I mean, it's all creative stuff. Nothing beats a great afternoon with some Dippin' Dots ice cream. Now I'm just getting hungry. With Mike Mullis, I'm EvanBudrovich. Game 2 of this series, doubleheader on tap today.
Tell you what, surprised to see Jake Hunter still out there, and boy, he's got his hands full right out of the gate with tossing.
James lays off for a 2-0 count. Robbed a home run earlier today. He's 0 for 2 at the plate. Tauzu's heating up at the right time. 15-game hit streak as we enter this final week of the regular season. Make it 16. Hard knock to start the 6th.
Yeah, that's about as easy as you could swing a bat and create that type of exit velo. I mean, it's certainly a controlled stroke at it, and he just smokes that ball back through the middle. I do think Pruitt is ready, and a
chance to send off the senior and Jake Hunter.
Yeah, quite an ovation Jake deserves from this the fans that are here today. What a great job he did and has done in his career.
For your pitcher, Jake Hunter, he's been a grinder even this weekend. Back-to-back days on the bump. And Cliff Godwin gives him the proper send-off here in the 6th.
Yeah, this is handled the right way. We looked at it early as potentially a kind of a token start for a guy who's been through so much physically and has given so much in this program. And Jake Hunter takes the opportunity and is masterful to this point in his outing, and he'll give it over to Brad Pruitt and sit back and watch his teammate do his thing.
Neat moment for the Salisbury native pitching in his home state, and he'll exit for the final time at home. 1-run game here in the 6th as Hunter exits with a lead. Yeah, that was done well. I like how that was handled. So Brad Pruitt enters out of the Pirate pen. He's one of the more electric arms for East Carolina. And now he enters in his 22nd outing. High innings workload for Pruitt, who's both been a starter and a reliever. Now he's tasked of entering here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, we've seen him very recently in that starting role, like you're saying. It's, you know, the question has been consistent with most of the bullpen arms for East Carolina is the ability to get ahead of hitters and throw strikes. And we mentioned earlier how aggressive these roadrunner hitters are, so it's not a matter of just throw a get ahead, get me over kind of pitch. You've got to be competitive out of the gate. So let's see what Pruitt can do against this offense that seems to just kind of be lying in wait in UTSA.
Andrew Stuckey, 4-5-6 in Hallmark's lineup, and this is fouled away. Only twice in league play has UTSA been held under 4 runs. Charlotte did it once, winning the opening game of the series when Gillespie dealed.
Yeah, what a year he's had.
Yeah, he'll be the most likely pitcher of the year here in no time. And the other game in a split doubleheader with Tulane. But after that game, UTSA scored 25 the next day and 17 the day after that. So hard to hold this offense down for too long. Stuckey down the line, but that's into the Pirate pen and actually out of the park, but out of play.
You know what's kind of interesting? I've been keeping an eye on the exchanges down here at first base. I don't think Irby wants to lay the hard tag on Towson quite like he's done with some of the smaller guys.
The old pick on somebody your own size.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a difference there. That's
the heavyweight and the welterweight. Here's a ground ball to short. This might be two. Williams had to hustle to grab it. Can't make the turn in time.
And I agree. I think they're going to look at it at second base and see if Dixon had the bag. I see the first base coach quickly motion down there. Just it was kind of a changeup that came out of the hand of Boucher on the turn.
These are really hard calls to overturn. As Ryan Aguayo was at least pointing at the bag. You bring up a good point.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to go there, but it was certainly. I mean, you could tell a little changeup getting out of the hand.
Let's look for good measure.
You see here, he gets to it, and it just kind of gets out of there soft, and it looks like Dixon had started his footwork a little bit early, but nonetheless we are.
It seemed like his whole body moved, but his foot still kept the bag.
And again, it's such a timing thing, and they do it so often, and then you get the changeup, which is why it works. You know, you get it kind of gets out of the hand. You couldn't quite get a good grip on it, Boucher, but nonetheless, they get, you know, the umpire's okay with it, so we'll be okay with it.
That's off the glove. Irby wins the foot race. Ooh, the heart rate just picked up a little bit. Runner moves to second.
Another interesting situation. That ball kind of smashed right at Irby, and he does a nice job to knock it down, goes to make the turn, doesn't realize until he goes to the glove that he doesn't have the baseball. But good play here, hit right at him, knocks it down.
He wasn't sure if he
like,
caught it.
Wait a minute, where is it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I better take one. No panic there, though. That was the nice part about that play for Irby. He didn't panic, just picked it up and collected at least one out.
These 18 to 22-year-olds, they can keep their heart rate nice and comfortable when things get wonky. Give them a ton of credit. Drew Detlefson hitting here with 2 outs. A spot where he could not cash in his last time up for the second leading RBI hitter in this American Conference. East Carolina scores 1 in the 5th to take the lead. Here's UTSA threatening in the 6th. And Detlefson delivers. Here comes Stuckey. Burris's throws way offline. And the follow-up throw's late. So an RBI single eats us up at 2.
Yeah, and as Walker Barron tried to make the play or look at second base, good play by Dixon Williams to keep it in front. But you see the base hit here and it gets out, and kind of like you alluded to in your call there, Braden Burris's throw just way offline, no chance to get the runner home plate. And you'll see Walker Barron's relay throw, and Dixon does a nice job of bodying that ball up and just not letting it get it back out to the outfield to compound the issues. You know what, Ed, but this is what good teams do. They answer, you know, and that's what we've seen out of this UTSA team. They take the lead early, and East Carolina comes back with the answer. This time it goes the other direction.
So now a 2-out chance for Jordan Ballin, who entering the weekend leads the American in batting average. He will qualify for the batting title, has played enough games, now 36. Good splitter from Pruitt, 1-1. That one's going to catch the zone as well for Brad Pruitt, replacing Jake Hunter this inning. The 1-2. Got him chasing. Good pitch. UTSA, though, ties it with another 2-out knock. Last time, Drew Detlefson. We got a ball game through 5.5. Coming up next week, the American Baseball Championships, May 20th to 25th from Baycare Ballpark in Clearwater. All the action on ESPN Plus with a championship game, kind of a fun tradition. ESPN News at 11 a.m. For championship info, visit theamerican.org. To watch all those games on E+ leading up to the week. If the season ended today, UTSA, they'll earn the 1, and then ECU, they'll be in that 5 seat, but there's a lot to be determined the next 2 weeks in a conference that's very crowded up top.
You know, it's really hard to believe. I mean, I know the season hasn't gone the way maybe the Pirate fans would have liked, and the Roadrunner fans couldn't be any happier. But it's when you're stuck in the middle of it, it feels like, man, this is such a long season now that we're on the back end and quite potentially doing our last home game here, you know, weather pending for Tuesday. Man, it seems like it's flown by. You know, it's kind of the sand runs through the hourglass much quicker as you get a little bit older, and these seasons signify so many points in time. And, you know, here we are wrapping up another season of Pirate baseball here in the next few weeks.
They start on Valentine's Day, they wrap up at the end of May, and then regional weekend comes real quick at the start of June. This game 50 for both programs, UTSA, ECU, and a base hit for Austin Irby going down the line. First knock for Irby, and he's on to lead off this bottom of the 6th.
Be really interested to see how Coach Goblin plays this with Colby Wallace coming to the plate. I mean, obviously, we got a tie ball game, but this UTSA offense is potent, as we've continually alluded to. But be interested to see if he'll put something on here to try to get the base runner Irby in a scoring position, and with Riley Johnson on deck, this is the fun part of the game.
Wallace squares to bunt.
I bet we'll get a pick here.
Still not the best from Miles.
No, that is not his A+ pick. That's just he's just doing that to see if Colby, is going to show him anything at the plate, and Colby had already squared, kind of saying, which might have been a slash. You square that early, but we'll see where they go with it.
Pulls back. And this is where Cliff Godwin's made a living in his decade plus in Greenville. Situational bunting and base running.
No, that has always been the thing with this Pirate club. No matter how how many big bats they had, they're not afraid to bunt at any point, any count, anywhere in the lineup.
Connor Kelly warming in the UTSA pen. Wallace, though, pops this up in the field of play. And Miller's there, 1 out. Not the kind of out the Pirates were looking for.
No, that's an at-bat that you'll look at later if if things don't work out. You go, man, that's kind of gave that at-bat away, and I know Colby knows that. Obviously, didn't do that intentionally. It's I'm not.
It happens.
I'm not suggesting that hitting a baseball is the easy thing to do, but that's one of those situations where you certainly would love to, at the very least, have had the opportunity to advance the runner into scoring position.
Riley Johnson up with 1 out. He picked up a triple earlier in his senior day, first of this doubleheader. Watches a strike. This is a player who can certainly utilize the bat well in different spots.
Yeah, the guy that's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes and kind of do whatever he's called to do.
Over 150 hits in Riley's career. Many have been on the infield.
I do have to say, at the risk of sounding homerish, but man, nothing would be cooler than to see Riley Johnson hit a ball out of the park on senior day.
I think to your larger point, a player who's earned a moment like that.
Oh, that's right.
Riley
That's
Johnson.
exactly right. And, again, our UTSA fans that are listening, this guy's had double shoulder surgery. He's had knee issues. He's had everything that you could possibly have, and it's a miracle that he's in the order.
Johnson smokes one in the gap. Well, that's part of the formula. A base hit, moving Irby to third. And now the Pirates cooking here in the 6th.
That's just part of Riley Johnson realizing who he is as a player and as a hitter. He doesn't try to do really more than he's capable of. And literally that's the epitome of serving that ball into kind of right center field. So now the Pirates a little something cooking, runners on first and third with Big John Collins at the plate.
Cliff Godwin noted in an interview last year, and I think this quote always stands out. He said, he's just a tough dude.
I think that's very, very fairly put. It wouldn't surprise to see me, honestly, with the fact that Collins does hit the ball on the ground a lot and is not a great runner. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Coach Godwin do something to stat of a double play. And he does really enjoy utilizing like a safety-type squeeze. Would not surprise to see me, even with a guy like John Collins that can run it out of the ballpark in a hurry.
Thus the meeting with Stuckey coming out to talk to his pitcher, and the bullpen's ready. Connor Miles working here in the 6th.
You see his numbers there, too. I mean, if this is the end of his day, what a nice clean day he's had. 5 1/3, only allowed 7 hits, 2 earned, the single walk. I mean, that's a more than quality start out of your typical Sunday guy.
Connor Kelly ready in that pen, and we'll see what UTSA decides to do. Looks like Kelly's ready.
Yeah, it looks like there's some potential deliberation going on at the mound. A little conversation with your.
Can Miles talk his way into this game?
Well, when you hit him with that Australian accent, I think you can talk anybody into just about anything you want. But
it didn't convince Coach Hallmark. He'll go to the pen.
Made the move.
So we'll take a break here in the 6th. Connor Kelly, the junior college transfer coming in from Spring, Texas, enters in a tight spot here in the 6th. From one Connor to the next, Miles and Kelly. You see the size for Kelly. He's got tremendous stuff as well. And here's UTSA having to burn its top reliever, Robert Orlowski, last night. Kelly, though, their most effective reliever, best ERA and really good strikeout numbers.
Yeah, I mean, 6'5", 245, sauntered in from the bullpen, I don't think is an overstatement. You're actually seeing like his third, fourth warm-up pitch. So, yeah, the numbers are there, man. 31 strikeouts to 11 walks. That kind of tacky 1.73 ERA, something you don't see much, in college baseball with those types of innings pitched. But he'll go to work here facing a pinch hitter in Roger Vergara.
Vergara, who came off the bench last night for Cliff Godwin, the Weston, Florida native. He'll replace John Collins in essentially the middle of this at-bat. It's a fresh count, though. Here's Kelly's first pitch, and Vergara first pitch hacking. Connor Kelly, who earned the save when UTSA went to Austin and beat Texas in early March, and he's been lights out since.
From first looks at Kelly, it's kind of an interesting delivery, and what I mean is the way it gets out of his hand. 90 miles an hour, but that ball certainly jumped on Vergara.
Big lead, no one covering at first. So with the thought of a bunt, UTSA surrenders the runner to second.
Kind of interesting there. I mean, that is as crash can be, and the first baseman comes in
and that's for the fear of a suicide squeeze, I would
imagine. Kind
of
gets in Vergara's pocket. Yeah, it'd been a weird time for a suicide necessarily, but a safety squeeze would have been certainly in order. But Vergara finds himself buried in a 1-2 count where, quite honestly, a ground ball in the middle scores a run, a little something in the outfield could potentially score two.
2 RBI in Roger Vergara's young season. Did he hold? He did. 13 straight scoreless innings for Connor Kelly, and these runners, not his responsibility, but dealing here.
Yeah, the middle's still back, and corner's kind of mid-depth.
The 2-2 got him chasing. Vergara up in the zone, 2 away.
Yeah, just that fastball, man. You see the arm side life on that thing, too, and Kelly's a little pumped with that one, but Vergara offers at a pitch he knows he wishes he could have laid off of, but those ones around the eyes, man, it's tough. And, man, did that thing have some onside run or what?
Alex Boucher up with 2 outs. And he goes first pitch hacking.
Again, the just going to the book on him with the breaking ball, and that one down and out of the zone. I do kind of like the matchup, though, Ev, if Kelly tries to run that fastball in on Boucher, him getting the barrel to it.
A bunt makes it strike 2. Saw the third baseman McClure playing back.
Interesting call there, kind of what we mentioned earlier with Cliff Godwin and his lack of fear to do it at any point. I would imagine at this point Boucher is going to have to deal with a couple breaking ball offerings from Kelly.
Got him chasing 3 pitches, and Connor Kelly gets out of the threat. East Carolina strands 2, couple of chances in the inning. Vergara goes down swinging, so does Boucher. So we'll go to the 7th. Welcome back, where UTSA and ECU meet for just the second time as conference rivals. Only 9th all-time meeting, dating back a decade when both were in Conference USA. And here's UTSA searching for back-to-back series wins, but a real tight game 2 after the Pirates just stranded a couple of their own.
Yeah, we've talked about offense and not seen very much of it today. We got a 2-2 ball game getting into the back third here, so kind of feel like something's got to give on one side or the other.
Sets the stage for the bottom 2. Ty Hodge gets things started, and he chases Brad Pruitt's first pitch. Pruitt, a high leverage arm for the Pirates. They used Ethan Young yesterday, DiLorenzo for 2, and then Hunter, who both ended yesterday and threw 5+ today.
Yeah, you kind of wonder as again, we got another game here today, you kind of wonder where the Pirates go. Was Young available to come back? And be kind of surprised to see DiLorenzo again, but again, nothing would surprise me. We just saw a 1-out, 2-out, 1-strike bunt effort there. I mean, you just don't ever know with this Pirate club. They'll do what they think they have to do.
That ball took a wicked hop off the grass and bounces over Wallace's glove. There's a base hit.
That ball's a little top spinner there off the bat, and you're right, wicked. It's about the only way you can describe this hop. You'll see it here. It catches the turf first, and man, it's almost like it maybe caught the transition there between the dirt and the grass, and took a quick forward lunge there, and looks like coach is going to make a change at the plate, bringing a pinch hitter out of the dugout.
This is where UTSA can be dynamic with lineup versatility. 18 multi-hit games now for Ty Hodge, and as Gruhl exits, here's Diego Diaz, the Far Texas product, who pitch hit and collected a knock last night. UTSA loves situational left-right matchups. We see so many pitch hitting opportunities for this Roadrunner attack. And now in the 9 spot, Diaz lays off the first pitch.
That's the pitch Pruitt has to have success, is the breaking ball. That one, he bounces, maybe a foot, 18 inches in front of the plate.
Gets a swing there. Brad Pruitt, twice named All AAC honorable mention from a pitching standpoint. Up and down, though, last week at Wichita State in 2 outings, just over 4 innings. That pitch is sinking well today, though, 1-2.
Tell you what, Coach Hallmark, something I really respect about him. An old school guy, kind of comes across that way, but still giving signs, still down there flashing traditional signs. There's no bands or no kind of 1-4-3s or whatever. It's it's old school.
And here's UTSA, 2 wins from matching their program record for wins in a season at 40. Tight game here in game 2 of this weekend set. Roadrunners who have swept 4 opponents in the American, including an impressive sweep out South Florida to all but clinch the league title. They pulled that off last night for the outright crown. All 3 games trailing in the 5th inning or later. Now a full count.
We'll see what kind of trust Coach Hallmark has in Diaz at the plate as they either draw the 4th ball or put a ball in play here. We'll see if he moves his runner Hodge over at first. Hodge with a little fake break over there. See if he could get somebody to move out of position.
A good 3-2 battle here to start the 7th. Left up in the zone. This is tracking to the wall. Good coverage by Burris for the first out.
We've seen a lot of that type of swinging production or lack thereof out of both teams today. A lot of just kind of lazy fly balls. You did have the one that the big right fielder brought back in that, flirted with or would have been a home run, but kind of everything else just been kind of soft contact fly balls.
So here with one out, Caden Miller, who gets the spot start. He's been held hitless, 0 for 3.
I'm sure that Coach Godwin and staff sure would love to see Pruitt go the rest of the way if possible in this outing. Last thing they want to do is go back in that bullpen knowing they got another game to play today. Especially with this one knotted up 2-2, you know, there's still a lot to be determined here.
Yeah, the arms used in this game almost affect who you can use in the last game.
Oh, no question about it, especially when it's 45 minutes after this one. It's not like you even get 24 hours to recoup and treatment and whatever else.
Brad Pruitt, the first of the Pirate relievers, forces Miller to fight one off.
Pruitt already at 25 pitches.
That'll stay away. A UTSA club that typically scores 8 a game, but the combo of Jake Hunter and Brad Pruitt have held the Roadrunners to just 7 hits. There's strike 2. That was tipped away, so foul ball.
Yeah, just does get a piece of it, just enough to stay alive. Really big shift on with the Pirate defense now, with Colby Wallace playing a true shortstop and everybody else on the right side of the bag.
2-2 stays away. Runners off. There's a strike 3, but the throw skips away. And now going to third base. Hodge has some good wheels. He's in there with the second out.
If I'm not terribly mistaken here, if that ball actually gets under Hodge when he goes into second base, take a look at it here. Walker Behrens throws a little bit up the line, and you'll see, I think it, off of his leg, he knocks it over to where, actually where Colby Wallace was playing, and he's able to scoot on over to third base.
And now Austin Knight comes out for a quick chat. The situation certainly changes with that runner now at third base.
Well, I'll tell you what it brings into play again, Pruitt's pitch. I mean, what he's got to have to be successful is the breaking ball. And, you know, a ball to the backstop scores a run. I mean, all these things come into play. And it kind of looks like just a kind of settle down, or maybe a conversation about a reminder, maybe a scouting report, kind of something they looked at earlier. Coach Knight out to just reiterate kind of what they want to do, facing the best overall hitter in this lineup.
And arguably the best hitter in the American Conference. That pitch will stay inside.
You know, this is kind of a pick your poison moment here with Lytle and then with Taussig on deck. So big point in the game here.
Lytle takes strike 1.
Tell you what, that offer from Pruitt had a little more fuzz on it. That went up to 94. Firmest offering of the day.
Pruitt's 1-1. Amps it up again, but stays inside. Pruitt has pitched in all different roles, including starting at UAB a few weeks back. He's been a bullpen arm in the last 3 series. Puts together a good pitch there.
Good job by Walker Barron to get that ball back and present it for the home plate umpire.
The sophomore's 2-2. Forces weak contact. Williams takes care of it, and UTSA strands a big runner at third base. Time to stretch here in game one of this doubleheader. A 2-2 battle resumes after this timeout. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. Here's what's cooking so far. UTSA scored first. The Pirates got two of their own, thanks to a Jack Herring RBI double, and then the Roadrunners with one in the sixth. This is the kind of matchup we anticipated entering the year. Two teams right near the top of the American, and so far each playing like it. As East Carolina looks to even the series all time and in the weekend, and then UTSA just stranded a big runner at third last inning. So as we resume this bottom of the seventh, Connor Kelly replacing Connor Miles for his second inning of relief. And now for Cliff Godwin, how do you manufacture some offense here? 9-1-2, Walker Barron will kickstart after the Pirates left two on with one out in the sixth.
Yeah, it'd be a really big deal for Walker Barron to find his way on right here in this at-bat and get it to the top of the order. And then all bets are off with Cliff Godwin down there. I think it would open up the entirety of the playbook, if you will. But it all starts right here. Walker does have a hit on the day. Nice piece to the right side earlier.
Both ECU and UTSA have left six on the bases, so some opportunities early. And there's Cliff Godwin checking his menu-sized cheat sheet of information. Not as enticing as a Waffle House menu, but still delightful nonetheless. A Pirate team that last season was top 10 in the country in sacrifice bunts. This year their offense fueled by hit by pitches. Still a good bunting team, 44 bunts this year. And there's strike one.
I'm going to tell you, with the arm side action of Kelly's pitches, it's going to be difficult for Walker to drive this ball necessarily to right. I think it's got to be kind of left center to center of the ballpark.
That's popped out of play.
Although, interestingly enough, UTSA has got him shaded true oppo from center field and right. Left fielder playing pretty much straight up.
The 3-2. That catches the corner. And Connor Kelly with his third K.
Great job by Connor Kelly to come back in that one after falling behind to Walker Barron, and he just dots up that outside fastball. See, really no chance there. Again, another good job by the catchers to present that to the home plate umpire and kind of give their guy a chance to buy a strike.
Both pitching staffs a combined 10 Ks to 1 walk. It's been a well-pitched game. And here's Burris at the top of the Pirate lineup. He goes first pitch hacking. This will stay up in the gap, so room for Lytle to track it down. 2 away.
Yeah, Lytle, no problem with that. Good jump off the swing and another kind of lazy fly ball.
The only fly ball that was somewhat dangerous today was Irby's robbed home run.
That's right.
That would have tied it at 2 at that point. The Pirates scored 1 since. And here's Jack Herring, who's had a day. 2 hits today, 2 hits yesterday. And he takes strike 1 as both relievers are pounding the zone.
Yeah, seeing Herring from the left side for the first time today.
Kelly's 0-1. Nibbles in for strike 2, and Kelly is pounding that strike zone.
I tell you, it's that little bit of action there. You can kind of throw that thing in on the white line of the batter's box, maybe just inside, and it has just enough bite to get to the black of the plate.
Let's see if this pop-up stays in play. You see that fan there trying to jump the concrete to make the catch. And then those fans are like, oh man, that guy almost jumped in front and robbed us. There's the foul ball. A sunny afternoon doubleheader to close out this 3-game homestand. UTSA back-to-back road trips before hosting Rice next week. As Herring spoils another 0-2. We noted the youth of this Pirate lineup. Burris, Herring, and Irby, all first-year starters. And 3 very consistent hitters for Cliff Godwin's unit as his team gears up for the conference tournament in 2 weeks. Herring off the end of his bat, gives this ball a drive, beats the fastball in, and the Pirates lead in the 7th.
Yeah, not a whole lot the big right fielder Towson could do about that one. That one's halfway up the trees, and Herring does a great job of getting his hands, kind of pulling his hands inside this pitch, getting just enough of the barrel to give the Pirates a 1-run lead. You see it right here. You see he literally just fights to get those hands inside, gets the barrel out, and drives that baseball out of the ballpark, again into the trees out there in right center field.
3-hit day for Jack Herring. He's having himself a weekend. And smokes that ball out of here. Only the 5th home run surrendered by Kelly. That's not been part of his game plan. And now Dixon Williams hits with a 1-run lead.
Dixon looking to go back-to-back, and Kelly pulling the string on the off-speed offering there.
Jack Herring with his 2nd home run in conference play. That was a huge at-bat. Williams goes the other way. Good footwork by Miller to keep his foot on first, and that ends the inning. Jack Herring, though, a 5-hit weekend, and he breaks the 2-2 tie. We'll go to the 8th here in Game 2.
There's only one way to win. It doesn't have shortcuts. It's a spirit to outwork, outsmart, and outlast the competition.
Catch me if you can.
It demands boldness, grit, and guts. It says we can, we will. It's what separates us from the rest. There's only one way to greatness, and that's the American way.
Gorgeous afternoon in Greenville, East Carolina, now 2 innings away. If the bullpen can do its part of evening this series. UTSA 19-3 in league play. It's been a rare 9-game winning streak for the Roadrunners. And by rare, I mean a rare chance for them to lose a game in conference. They've been rolling here as of late. Last conference loss, April 18th, right before Easter, as James Tauzik goes down swinging 0-1.
Big inning here for Pruitt. The pattern for today's game has been each team has answered the other team's score. So see if Pruitt can throw up a 0. Tough guy to start with.
This will be Pruitt's 3rd full inning of relief. And he's got a pitch count where he might be able to finish this out. Nasty there, but down and in. No swing. This home faithful thought that was a strike regardless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're on them.
David Mabe hearing the disagreement of this home faithful. He calls a strike there.
You know what is funny in the no matter what ballpark you're in, the disagreeing statement, get your head in the ball game, you know, come on, Blue.
You're missing always a great game.
Yeah, it's always the same stuff.
I do wonder at the big league level, once the spring training rules of automated ball and strike get implemented, how can fans heckle an umpire now?
Yeah.
I guess you can heckle technology.
Yeah, it takes one more fun aspect out of the game.
Yeah, the human nature is a nice part. There's a strikeout for Pruitt. He's cruising, 1 away.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of been interesting with Pruitt so far. It's been a series of kind of differences, like kind of Jekyll and Hyde, where he'll throw non-competitive pitches and come back with a sequence like that he just had with Tauzik. And this is really good, and that's, again, that downward angle and all the things that Pruitt needs to have success, he showed right there in that sequence.
Pruitt's ERA is above 7 in conference play, but he's piecing together 3 really good innings. So works ahead to Stuckey.
And I think this is going to be Pruitt's as far as he can take it. I mean, there's absolutely no movement in the Pirate bullpen. A lot of guys sitting down there, but nobody's even stretching.
Pruitt's also on a full 6 days rest, so a lot of options here in the first of this doubleheader. At this time of year, what pitcher can give you more than you expect? That's the case for Jake Hunter. Goes 5+ on his senior day after throwing 1 last night. And here's Pruitt in inning 3, working ahead 0-2.
You see Walker Barron back there with the head shake. Hey, acknowledge an 0-2 pitch, pretty good one. I mean, maybe a little further out than Pruitt wanted, but certainly something that they discussed. Hey, tease him off and see if we can get him to swing at something that he otherwise wouldn't want to swing at, that being Stuckey.
Yeah, it's 2-2 now on Stuckey. A UTSA team that has 8 wins when trailing after 7 innings. They've had some comeback in the Roadrunners, including all 3 games at South Florida last week. So leaning on Brad Pruitt here out of Cliff Godwin's pen. And he forces a weak pop-up. Wallace calling for it. Wallace comes in.
Yeah, that ball was did not go very far away from home plate, but certainly had some serious height. Kobe Wallace comes in from third base, and you know that's who you want catching that. Get the guy with the regular fielder's glove. Obviously, your catcher's more than capable if he needs to take it, but you'd rather give way.
Pruitt's retired 7 of the last 8. And now Norris McClure up. Also 2 very efficient innings for this Pirate staff. Between Hunter and Pruitt, just 110 total pitches.
Clearly some respect for McClure's ability to get a bunt down. Colby Wallace was way in on the grass, now is taking a step back, even though McClure took a swing.
McClure lays off as he's reached base now in 19 straight. A single in the 4th pushed the hit streak to 15 games. Up and down this UTSA lineup, so many threats. Not a big power team, but can consistently score runs. Well, here's a powerful swing, but that'll stay in the yard and actually hang up in the air. 3 up, 3 down for Brad Pruitt. Pirates will roll to the bottom of the 8th here with a 1-run lead. A great pitcher's duel here in game 1 of this doubleheader. Jack Herring's go-ahead homer, the difference. That was in the 7th. And the bullpens for both teams, quality so far.
Yeah, out of the gate, we didn't know exactly what to expect. Jake Hunter out, getting the senior day start, and you know, UTSA moves up their Sunday guide, so you're kind of trying to figure out what the staffs are thinking. But man, both guys answered the bell, and you're right, it's been a well-pitched game, well-played game to this point. 1-run game in the bottom of the 8th.
Here's Austin Irby, who's hit 3 balls very hard. He's 1 for 3, robbed twice of hits. Might be robbed 3 times. Balling from his knees. Another great play.
Yeah, Irby hit that ball hard, balling just well positioned defensively, playing out there in the kind of short right field. You'll see it here. He gets a great jump on this ball and full extension, makes the play.
He read that hop perfectly, too.
Able to get Irby.
If you're Irby, look at that box score. Hey, I'm 1 for 4, but I smoked 4 balls today.
No, that's right. That's all you want to do. Barrels, just barrel contact. And, again, that goes in the QAB chart as a ball that was hit hard. Just, you know, guys play good defense at this level of baseball.
That's why UTSA is fielding it at a 980 clip entering the weekend. After the quick meeting with Cliff Godwin, here's Colby Wallace in a rare 0 for 3 day. He's reached base in 17 straight, so that's on the line here in the 8th. Both bullpens pretty quiet here in this 8th inning. With TBA and TBA projected to pitch after this game. Will this stay in the yard? Nice catch. 2 hands and everything.
Jeter again. Let's been working on this.
He keeps the concentration.
Right.
Good squeeze.
I got it. No problem.
He didn't call off his teammates over there, but he makes the catch. Now he shares the love with some friends. Oh, good gesture. Yeah, there you go. Future ball player right there. Kelly, though, wasted no time. A punch out after that fun foul ball.
Kelly's had a solid outing, except for the little bit of damage. The difference in the game right now done by Jack Herring.
It is worth noting, if you're UTSA, both Robert Orlowski and Connor Kelly, 2 high-leverage arms, will be unavailable in Game 3, with Braylon Owens most likely the starter in that third game. Riley Johnson works ahead in the count. Sean Jenkins could be an option for the Pirates. Brad Zayak, there's a lot of different guys that could throw in Game 3.
Well, I would imagine that you would see one of the two of them. Moran would be another guy that would come to mind that could possibly be the starter. But, you still have to play with the fact of Tuesday's game on the schedule, regardless of, way too soon to forecast the weather or anything at that point. So
I think to your larger point, though, your high leverage arms would be used today as opposed to Tuesday.
Yep.
And you may piecemeal Tuesday together if needed.
And I think, really, quite frankly, to this point, you've seen the best of what both of these bullpens have to offer. So, I mean, it's kind of the old term, and kind of a midweek feel with Johnny Holstaff will probably be who we'll see to round out today's action.
Riley Johnson. Mully, you called for it. 10th career home run on a senior day.
How cool is that?
Couldn't have scripted it any better for the senior superstar for East Carolina.
Yeah, it comes across home plate. You saw him kind of hold his hands up like, man, I don't know either, and then shows a little love in his faith. And, yeah, what a big deal there for Riley, and the fans get to enjoy it. And I tell you what, he didn't miss any of that one for his, like you said, his 10th career home run, first of the season. And what a cool moment here at Clark LeClaire Stadium, the fans' reaction. And
this place went nuts pregame when his name was called and all the senior scripts started reading off. A 4-year player in Greenville. He always asks players what moments they remember most. I think that may be very high on his list.
I can't imagine. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I alluded to earlier, I didn't know if he would play. Coach Galvin had made mention last week that it was hard for him to stay on the field for 3 games through a weekend. And you would think, being here at home, senior day, he'd want to try to finish out the second game today. But, that might be just enough right there for you to go, you know what, that's how I could be cool with leaving it right here if I'm just not physically capable of getting back out there.
A big swing there for Riley, 380 off the bat. And a fun moment for the Virginia native who spent all 4 years here in Greenville, injury-riddled in those first couple years, but back healthy now for his last month.
And again, you'd mentioned it earlier, his healthy is all relative. It's good enough for him to be in the lineup and do what he's done. He's had a great day today and has been a big part of the offense when he's had the opportunity to get in or been healthy enough to participate. But, yeah, cool moment there for Riley Johnson.
2 home runs filling the Pirates' lead here. 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. Herring and Johnson. And UTSA with the bottom 4 in its lineup coming up in the 9th. And a walk. 2-out rally continues. That's Roger Vergara getting on.
And you can see Kelly's a little disgusted with the way things are unfolding around him, but and that'll get Vergara lifted for pitch runner Alex Peltier.
Peltier, another freshman here for East Carolina. One of 20 of them on Cliff Godwin's roster. And now Coach Hallmark comes out for a meeting and a possible change with the Pen starting to warm up.
Yeah, a little discussion of where things might go from here, and probably something to the tune of, man, if you could keep them right here, a 2-run lead with, you know, kind of where this offense can go and how good it can be. If you can keep us right here, we got a chance. We may be able to pick you up, but we got to stop the bleeding right now. See, I mean, only a couple hits resulted in runs, both of them being home runs.
That's Gunnar Brown warming up, the senior Sam Houston transfer. A bullpen for UTSA is not deep in terms of number of arms, but it does have 8 relievers that have multiple innings, so there is quality in the pen. Not some of these modern teams that have 18 different relievers. I think Duke has that. 21 different guys have thrown this year out of the pen for Coach Pollard. And I'm not sure next year with new roster limits if that will be the case. (8-9-1) now in the Pirate order with Boucher, a 2-out opportunity. Good stop there from Stuckey.
Yeah, Kelly seems kind of gotten away from his mental focus and has lost it a little bit here. And I can tell you, that's one thing with Boucher, a lot of pop in the bat, and a 2-0 fastball could be deposited over the left field wall if he's not careful here.
Comes back with a 2-seamer for a strike. Boucher on the ground. Nice snag by McClure. And we'll go to the 9th. How about Riley Johnson, though? His 10th career home run and then a fun swing here in the 8th. On his senior day, Riley Johnson making a statement. Now the Pirates look to even the series. We roll to the top of the 9th here in this game 1 of a doubleheader. East Carolina's power numbers picking up. Riley Johnson and Jack Herring, 2 home runs to make the difference. And now a chance for Brad Pruitt to even this series as we kickstart the 9th.
Yeah, big spot here for Brad Pruitt. He gets the opportunity to close this one out, 2-run lead, and get his team back even in the series. So going to start the battle here with Detlefson and kind of head towards the bottom. Good spot to be. You'd far rather be here than, if this lineup had flipped and you're at the top.
9-game win streak for UTSA on the line. Pruitt's 4th inning of relief, replacing Jake Hunter. And more first pitch contact.
Yeah, UTSA don't waste any time, and quite frankly, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, East Carolina's been much the same today, coming up and both working early offensively.
After this 0-1 pitch, both teams have seen 120 pitches today. That ball stays foul. I feel like sometimes you and I work games in the midweek, and it's 120 pitches through 5 innings.
Yeah, no question. And it kind of feels like Game 3 of this series may have a little bit of that look, as both teams have burned through a lot of arms to get to this point in it.
Which makes each team using only 2 arms in this game. Pretty important. Kelly and Pruitt, the 2 relievers. Here's Brad Pruitt's 0-2. Fouled away.
This leadoff guy is such a big deal. Obviously, if you you put a runner on, it brings the tying run to the plate. So such a different feel if you could find a way in a tight ball game like this in the 9th inning to get that first out.
Another 0-2. Got him looking. Pruitt dealing out of the pen. 4 Ks.
Really big deal right there to start that inning again. Started off with an out, and even better with a strikeout of a quality hitter, and still a little bit of exchange between the hitter and the home plate umpire. So
Jordan Ballin now the bottom 3 in this UTSA order. 8 come from behind wins during this 38-win campaign. This game's not over just yet. There's strike 1.
I think that's the first time that looked like it was a purely intentional take out of the gate. Ballin looked like he had no intent of taking the bat off his shoulder on that one, see if Pruitt would fall behind, and he did not.
Now 2-1. So the mission accomplished there for Ballin.
Yeah, how quickly that turned. Like first pitch strike, okay. Now it's flipped the other way.
Make it strike 2. A little more life from this home faithful here in Game 2. East Carolina with a win moves within half a game of second place in a crowded American standings behind UTSA. The 2-2 just misses. How about Pruitt's payoff pitch? Let's see another.
Ballin working here, just trying to extend this thing, and got himself in a full count.
Fun battle brewing here, 3-2. And Ballin spoils another. Pruitt will search to retire the American Conference's second leading hitter in both on base and batting average, Jordan Ballin. But he's been held in check today, 0 for 3 after a 2-hit night yesterday. This is good on good here in the 9th. Did he go? He did not. And the tying run comes to the plate.
Yeah, this is what you're fearful of anytime, again, in the 9th inning. And trying to kind of preserve that 2-run lead that you bring somebody to the plate that represents the tying run. And this is one of those deals where mentally Pruitt's got to just go, hey, listen, regardless of the situation, I've pitched well. I just got to go out and compete in the situation. And now he gets Hodge to the plate, guy with 6 home runs on the season.
Two more hits for Hodge early in this game. Working ahead in the count.
You know, even worse, if a guy hits his way on, that's one thing, but it's the, it's the free passes.
Make it 2-0.
I'll tell you what, he very nearly hit Hodge there. That's going to bring Coach Knight out. And again, he's going to take a moment to try to switch the momentum. Have a little conversation. And surprisingly to me, you have still nobody up at all playing toss or otherwise down in the Pirate bullpen.
Leaning on the sophomore Brad Pruitt, you see those numbers.
I mean, that's a really clean line, especially if you take that one walk out, knowing that that one walk just came to the last hitter here in the top of the 9th inning. But Pruitt's done a really good job to this point. Now it's just a matter of finish the outing. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Go out to the hitter, compete. You got a game plan for every hitter they got in the dugout, so just go at it according to plan.
Finds the zone there. Here's the 2-1. Very patient UTSA team in this 9th inning.
They have like that pitch. I mean, really, that was an easy pitch to take. Is exactly what you don't want to. You got to be a little tighter to the zone, and that caused Walker Barron to have to reach all the way across.
There's strike two.
There's a good one, yeah.
A Roadrunner team that trailed all 3 games at South Florida last week and essentially won the conference in Tampa. Now they look for an epic comeback here in Greenville, home of the 5-time reigning champs in the regular season. There's ball 4, so 2 are on.
And this isn't a matter where all of a sudden Pruitt's talent and ability left him. It's a nervy, it's a bigger spot. This is all about controlling what's going on between your ears and understanding that you're good enough to be in this situation. You've had, again, a great outing to this point in the game. It's just a matter of settling in, and it's competing. You've got to want to go compete.
A spot for Diego Diaz, the pitch hitter, back in the 7th. And Cliff Godwin's going to have a chat.
I bet we're going to see Colby Wallace here unless there's...
Yeah, there's a glove in Godwin's hand.
Sure is.
But it's not Colby's glove.
Yeah, the glove came out of the dugout. Let's see.
Well, there's Colby coming in to pitch.
It's Braden Burris's glove. He'll come in. They'll shift around the infield, most likely Dixon Williams over to third base, and they'll go with Braden Burris at second.
So we'll step aside for the pitching change. Pirates going to their sophomore Colby Wallace to close this game out. Colby Wallace, a utility specialist for the Pirates, comes in out of the pen. He's thrown 13 innings this year. This is nothing new for Colby. But now he enters in a true save situation. He picked up a save at Wichita last week and looks to preserve a 2-run lead here in the 9th.
Yeah, no, I mean, they describe Colby, he's the most competitive guy, on the field. One of these guys that wants to smoke, wants the big moment. So he's going to get exactly what he wants as he enters the game here. Runners on first and second, only one out.
There's all the defensive changes. Williams and Burris now in the infield. Whitaker and Downs in the outfield. And a first pitch strike to Diego Diaz. Wallace, who entered into the pitching rotation at the end of April last year, threw some huge innings in regionals and tournament play. And now a more slotted reliever in year 2 as he misses down to the top of this UTSA lineup. Nine-game win streak on the line for Pat Hallmark's Roadrunners. Go-ahead run at the plate.
Tell you what, although they're aggressive, they be in this UTSA offense, man, they will extend at bats, fight pitches off. We've seen them do it time and time again. We just saw the runner at second base there, Ballin, work his way on after fouling off several pitches. So they're not afraid to fight you in the box.
That ball skips away from Barron, and that tying run moves to second.
Yeah, that's just a breaking ball that just did not break and kind of hits Barron's glove, almost like it kind of stuck to his glove, if you will, due to the spin, and Barron just couldn't quite corral it and puts the tying run out at second base.
Changes the complexion of this at-bat for Diego Diaz, 13 RBI off the bench this year. No swing, 3-2.
Walker Barron doing all he could behind the plate to try to buy that. You saw the quick point and the head shake, and you see it right here. He points at him, he's shaking the head, he's trying to buy it. Just not quite enough.
Rick Allen says no. 3 straight batters have gone 3-2. 3 straight walks.
This kind of feels like a microcosm of the Pirates season where things are kind of moving along and things feel like, moving in the right direction, and then it just kind of gets south and kind of the saying like inventing ways to make things happen negatively. So, but they flipped the order to the top of this Roadrunner offense, and this is where the real trouble looms.
Caden Miller over the top of that pitch. 1-2-3 now in the UTSA lineup. And Miller's 0 for 4, the top of the order.
Again, the UTSA hitters are to be committed. That, like you said earlier, they've been patient. They've had competitive at-bats and found a way to create this trouble.
And I think since Barron dropped that ball, it might have been strike 2, but instead called down. How that swings the at-bat. Wallace now working 1-1. Falls behind. Dangerous spot for leadoff man Caden Miller, who takes ball 3.
I know the fans wanted that one too, but it was down. I mean, it's just, it's kind of nibble and bite. And then you had you've had the breaking balls that Colby's uncorked and been non-competitive, but biggest pitch of his outing right here.
Another walk. It's a 1-run game. And here's Mason Lytle, the hits leader in this American Conference.
And that's going to bring Coach Godwin back out. And it looks like potentially down there, Ian White Jr. maybe. Well, actually, we got a little fire drill down in the bullpen. Looks like
Lance Williams and maybe some others starting to quickly warm.
I see Gabe Beschloss looked like he was making a move there. So I don't think this would be the time to make the change right off. But certainly buy some time and try to get the pulse of where Colby Wallace is. And I will tell you what's dangerous here is obviously with a hitter like Lido at the plate, but bases loaded, you've had that visit. There's some kind of rules of thumb here. The hitter should be sitting dead red fastball and getting off a really good swing, which would mean Colby Wallace will have to come back and throw a good off-speed offering to counter that. That's been his bugaboo in this outing, is the off-speed stuff. So we'll see. We'll see which way this goes, but have all ideas Lido's going to get off a big hack here.
Big hack, base hit. Lido Mike Clarum for the Roadrunners. 2 already in. Here comes Miller. Impressive swing from the hits leader in the American Conference.
Yeah, this was my fear. He came with the fastball and Lido was hunting it, and he pulls it down into the corner, and kind of seems like that ball got down there and just as far away from Whitaker as it could possibly be, and empties the bases.
Another comeback here for UTSA and a back-breaking 9th for East Carolina.
It is certainly not over.
Tausig with 1 out, chops one in the dirt. That's Burris now playing second base to get the second out. And that's where 4 walks can really hurt you in this Pirate
Yeah,
pen.
I mean, it's one hit there. It's one hit. It's the freebies, and that's always the recipe for disaster.
No walks all game until the 9th inning.
But, the way this game's gone, man, this thing's far from over. Pirates still have life.
The batter did not have time granted, and then Wallace missed the zone. Hold on. Rick Allen's going to clear things up. I think Rick Allen called time.
There's no way to even guess what this conversation may be about, Ev. I am the only guess I have is it has something to do with the pitch clock, because it seems like at one point the third base umpire Rick Allen kind of pointed at the clock, but now I'm not sure. Again, what we could be talking about. I don't know how your lip reading skills are, but of course it's kind of hard to read lip from the back of their head.
Yeah, Rick, if you could just turn like 45 degrees
right.
for me.
Make it a little John Boy action there.
Let's see what the verdict is here.
Somebody's going to be unhappy here. It's just going to be a matter of who's the most unhappy.
Okay, it's going to be a 1-0 count. I think UTSA will take it, all things considered.
So I guess the definition that Coach Godwin's going to get in, I guess, Coach Godwin saying he stepped out, obviously was demonstrating that. I think Allen's saying, hey, we had already put the ball in play. I'm not sure. This is a mystery, and Coach Godwin's already obviously frustrated with what this inning has produced, and this certainly is not helping anything. It would be an ultimate exercise in self-control if he were to manage to stay in this game at this point.
An inning that's already seen 4 runs for UTSA.
There are a lot of people sitting at home going, well, it's just one pitch. It's but I'm telling you, it's that difficult at this level. 1-0 is very different than 0-1, and this may be, when you revisit the second time, that's typically when you get a chance to go to the showers early. But it looks like they're going to part friends, and away we go.
At least for now. Rick Allen, the crew chief, who worked behind the plate last night.
Coach Godwin had a little something for David Mayhem on his way in the dugout. And Coach Hallmark's there like, hey, man, I'm just hanging out. Like, I got nothing to do with any of this.
I just watched a double.
Yeah, what's going on?
Cleared the bases. And now time's called.
Why would Lyle be at third base? Was there a balk called? Is that what the – Lido had not advanced it. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. We just got word from the booth. I missed it somewhere in that he advanced on the ground out, but I guess I lost track in all the commotion of where everybody should be. And
sets up some intrigue here in this ninth inning.
I thought that would be a crafty move. Just bring your guy over there, leave him at third base after all the shenanigans. All the shenanigans take place.
Pirates will have the 9-1-2 in their lineup in the bottom half. UTSA, though, breaks the shift, and Stuckey with a 2-out knock.
You know, and this is the epitome of when it rains, it pours. The Pirates had a full shift, every infielder on the left side of second base other than Irby. And Stuckey doesn't have to do anything other than cue shot that ball through the right side. He does just that to score the easy RBI from third.
Two outs for McClure. A 9-game win streak, such a resilient run here for UTSA. And the Roadrunners on the verge now of a 10-game streak if their pen can preserve a lead that ECU's pen could not in the top half. Through Wallace's legs, a base hit for Norris McClure. An explosive 5-run inning.
You know, now you start to wonder, okay, Wallace standing, out there throwing pitches, and obviously want to have him available to play third base next game. So we'll see if that has any bearing over to any decisions that are made, but I would think he'd probably be getting near a number that you might want to think about lifting him. And just as I say that, there comes Cliff Godwin out of the dugout.
So Cliff will move Wallace back to third, expressing his displeasure with that earlier time call. I think to your larger point, this ninth inning kind of showcases what both teams have had to experience this year. For UTSA, nonstop grit. And for ECU, so many things well, but just could not finish off this ninth. And now Williams went out of the pen. We'll step aside for a quick minute with Lance Williams entering here in a moment. Welcome back to Greenville, where another pitching change here in this ninth inning. Lance Williams, the flame-throwing freshman out of Shenandoah, Virginia, comes in. Good strikeout stuff, but now he has to stop a UTSA lineup that brings its ninth batter to the plate here in the inning.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Lance Williams comes in, if he can find a way to quickly dispose of a hitter. Does he figure into the starter for the next game? I've seen that done before, but he's got a job at hand as it is back where this inning started.
A lot of changes defensively as those starters go back to their original spots. And here's Drew Detlefson, who started this inning with a strikeout on 3 pitches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've come full circle.
Even the fans kind of sarcastically noticing the strikes being thrown or called. Quickly 0-2.
If Williams can hold him right here, this thing is definitely still within striking distance. We've just seen it happen for UTSA.
5 in the 9th here for the Roadrunners. Pirates will start it off with Walker Barron in the 9th. Shows you how hard it is to get outs in late innings and what UTSA has been able to do in this 9-game win streak. 5 come from behind wins in that stretch. There's strike 3, and Williams makes quick work of Drew Detlefson. Pirates, though, have their work cut out for them. A 5-run rally, and now it's the Roadrunners with a chance to win the series after this. Welcome back to Greenville. A 5-run 9th has changed the tenor of this doubleheader. UTSA on the verge of a 10-game win streak. Although, as we've seen in this series, nothing has come easy for either staff. So a familiar name on the bump will return for technically his 3rd appearance. Robert Orlowski, who threw 3 innings in split duty yesterday, now comes in a save chance here in the 9th inning.
Yeah, why not? I mean, this 3rd appearance effectively in 2 games, and just seems fitting as this kind of 9th inning is gone that, why not go with him? And if he's their guy, he's their guy, and they get a chance to lock down the series with the win here.
UTSA won the regular season title last night. They now can earn a 20th conference win as the Pirates will go to its bench to open up this inning. Michael Kalinic will check in. A one-out rally in the top half, all via walks until the Lytle double broke the game open. Michael Kalinic in his 52nd at-bat of the year, just 4 RBI off the Pirate bench. And he takes all the way.
Walker Barron lifted for Michael Kalinic, and Barron, a guy who has been a stalwart behind the plate and has done a better than serviceable job at the plate offensively, but looks like an opportunity here to maybe pitch the matchup. Or rather, I guess, hit the matchup, making the change because of the right-handed pitcher.
'40th pitch of the weekend for Orlovsky, and he misses upstairs. This is very common for UTSA. High leverage relievers, 8 different arms have thrown at least 20 innings. But this is not a team that's going to roll out 15 different options. There are guys that Coach Hallmark trusts. And Kalinic hits one on the ground. A race back to first base. Oh, the wrong guy touched the base.
That's again, that's par for the course for the 9th inning of this game. I don't know that I've seen that where you have the ground ball fielded. So you're like, okay, well, we're good to this point. First baseman gets a little confused. Is Orlovsky going to take it? Is he taking it? And then he kind of takes it. He steals it. It's a pick. He picks it. He steals it from his guy. And they're both kind of looking at each other like, man, how'd that happen?
And Miller never got his foot on the bag. And I don't know what Cliff Godwin's asking about here.
I'm going to bet he's going to ask about, was there some type of interference over there? I didn't note anything, at first, but sure we can take another look at it and see if there's any type of noticeable interference between the defenders and the base runner.
There is a challenge
Looks
here.
Like we're gonna review it here.
Would that interference then allow the runner to go to second, or is that just?
Yeah, that would be the thought process here. So maybe I was paying attention to everything else that was going on in the circus that was right there. So maybe I missed part of the act, maybe the ring 3, but I didn't see anything that would make me think that there was any type of interference. But obviously the umpires are going to take a look. We'll have a look here ourselves. Again, we'll recap this. Okay, we got it fielded. 8's got no problem catching it, but then it goes there.
Technically, the pitcher never interfered with the orange bag.
No, I didn't see anything at all there that would.
Which I wonder where the path is. Yeah, I don't think there's much there.
No, I mean, he didn't step on the orange bag, and it's a typical ground ball. You try to beat it out to first, so you kind of peel off. Great shot there by the camera crew, and nothing. He actually tags his guy.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Wrong guy.
He beats the bang-bang footwork.
That's a little interesting. That foot sneaks underneath. Watch the foot from the first baseman. So he's got the baseball. And watch him sneak this foot in right between Orlovsky's feet.
Yeah, he made that a lot closer than I thought.
I'll tell you what. I can't imagine, but you see here, if you'll stay right here, his foot comes right between Orlovsky's legs. It kind of looked like earlier. Let's see. Yeah, because Orlovsky gets turned. Okay, he's safe.
So I'm assuming Cliff Godwin's challenge did not get approved?
Well, and I'm assuming that's Cliff Godwin's challenge, just based off the conversation as he's going off. But again, another, who knows? Who knows? Beauty of baseball, you never know what you're going to see. And then
Cliff thought he was going to get a runner at second, and then all of a sudden the umps went, this play's closer than we thought.
Right. Well, you never know what you're going to see, and then after you see it, sometimes you still don't know what you saw. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. That's one of those inexplicable deals, probably unless you're on the field. The only thing I could think of is were they asking for some type of interference.
Brandon Burris' turn in the 3-run game, and he takes strike one.
You know, Braden's been a guy that's been so hot for him and a guy that you would want at the plate in a big situation. Only down 3, you got the tying run on deck.
Orlowski pitching in this game. He's certainly burned from the 3rd game. Doubleheader, 45 minutes after this one.
You know, and that's the thing when you bring guys back too on short rest like this, there's always some level of effectiveness that is reduced. It's just how much, and you know, are they used to the situation?
Well, hold on, base hit for Burris. This game's far from over. 2 on, nobody out. Can anybody get an out in this 9th inning?
Yeah, no, in this situation, as they say, the plot thickens. You see there, I mean, just a great piece of hitting by Braden Burris. I mean, you look at a guy like Burris and you see he's 0 for 4. You got to expect he's going to get a hit at some point, and he does right there in a big moment. That'll bring Drew Downs to the plate. And I don't think Drew's had an official AB today. He has not, with Dixon Williams on deck.
Jack Herring's had a huge day. A single, double, and a home run. You know what that means.
Well, Jack's been lifted, so we've got, yeah. So
great point. Drew Downs now.
Drew Downs at the plate.
Make it 1-1. A 5-run 9th for UTSA. Now ECU threatening. There's ball 2.
I will tell you this, had Rick Allen called that a strike, he would have needed security to get out of here, whatever that may be.
You mentioned the start of this doubleheader. We got a lot of baseball to go.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Downs, no home runs this year, checking in off the bench. Takes strike 2. With Dixon Williams due next.
Drew Downs a tough guy to double up. He can run, really good runner. He would take a bullet right at a middle infielder.
The 2-2 fought away.
And I say that because I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised with Cliff Godwin down there, and then you look up and you've got Dixon Williams and Irby behind him who've, you know, had good days. I kind of surprised you don't bunt these guys up, take the double play out of order, and put 2 runners in scoring position. I know that doesn't, you know, get you to absolutely where you need to be, but a lot of faith in Drew Downs in this situation.
Nice battle brewing. Because he's kind of with a loss, the path to a 2 seed becomes very difficult. They need to win this series and then win the series at South Florida to put themselves in a great spot to be a 2nd or 3rd seed. Orlowski's 2-2. Really close pitch.
Yeah, really good take, and Stuckey is animated with the body language. I'm going to tell you, the home plate umpire, there's Hallmark with his sending his best wishes out to David Babe.
Well, I can read those lips. That's a strike.
Tell you what, that's a really good take. We'll just say that for Drew Downs.
Another battle here with 2 strikes.
You know, when for a game that had kind of lost all of its life there in the top of the 9th, it's now we're back in a ultra competitive environment. This is what it's all about.
UTSA's best closer here, 3-2. Misses high, bases loaded. Well, this 9th inning's brought enough juice for the whole weekend. And the Pirates have all the chances in the world here in the 9th.
You know, this is one of those situations where you want your hitters to just, hey, stay within what you're doing, stay within our approach. You don't have to hit the ball out of the park. Just, you know, deep breath and go about your business. Understand you don't have to win it. We see Hallmark sharing some words again with May, the home plate umpire. The crew chief just stepped in. Rick Allen from third base made a kind of an animated gesture towards David Mabe. So this is fun, man. We get to do it all over again. Another.
It's been a little feisty here in game 2.
Another 3 or 4 hours of animation and emotion still coming to you tonight.
Even in the pitcher's duels, nothing's moved quickly in this series. We've had 2 great quality starts between Connor Miles and Jay Cunner, and then last night what Norby and Royce were able to do. Oh, some words here. A warning from David Mabe to the frustrated and somewhat forgivable Pat Hallmark. I understand his frustration.
Yeah, and here comes the crew chief, and he's walking fairly quickly, and he got double tossed.
Hallmark's been ejected.
I love the hat flip backwards. I mean, this is an old school guy, and he's going to let the crew chief have it. Assistant coach comes off the bench to try to contain Coach Hallmark. And there's one head coach gone.
A lot of energy here in Greenville. Coach Hallmark saying, hey, you should have watched that video. You won't believe what you missed.
He lets him know exactly what he's thinking, comes out, spins a hat. He had already been dumped at that point, and he was actually being ejected at the same time. Simultaneous ejection by David Mabe and Rick Allen. Both of them went to the big heave-ho and sent Coach Hallmark to the shower. So I think he's going to head over to Sup Dogs, maybe have a Sup Crush and a couple chili dogs here.
And this is game 1 of the doubleheader.
Game 1.
Hallmark will have to watch the rest of the weekend. And what a spot for Dixon Williams here in the 9th.
You know, we have to remember back to last year at UTSA, it got a little chippy between these 2 clubs. So there's a lot of passion.
And the pitch clock's not working. So Coach Aguayo asking who's keeping track of the clock. Ryan Aguayo in a big spot with his staff. Zach Butler over there getting his words in.
Now Coach Gottlieb's probably going to ask him to charge a trip on this.
Looks like the pitch comm technology is not working.
Yeah.
Spider 2Y banana. Sounds like it's working to me. Maybe it's just so loud in here that Orlovsky can't hear it.
You know, the crowd had seemed to thin out there in the top of the 9th, but I think some of them came back. I mean, it's
an open door policy.
Yeah, it's, you know.
Game 1 of this doubleheader's lived up to it. All of a sudden, Clark LeClaire Stadium living up to its billing as one of the best atmospheres in college baseball.
And we have another timeout. I'm not sure if something was thrown on the field.
And the manager has to leave. I don't know if Pat Hallmark's left the building yet.
Nope, the fans down there trying to help adjudicate the situation. There you see Drew Steele from operations, and he's trying to work through some things. He's like, hey, don't I need to escort the head coach out of here?
Yeah, he went into the back batting cage. There comes Coach Hallmark. I believe he has to physically leave the facility.
Yeah, that's why I figured he'd go, you know, have dinner. Here he comes.
Pat will make his exit.
This will be kind of fun when he pops out of the dugout there on the far end. Fans will probably let him know. I don't know if there's anything that, like, this is the hockey fight of baseball, is a coach being ejected. Like, fans just love it. Like, it's
and both coaches were chirping last inning.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Dixon Williams needs to get off a big swing as much as going on, and how long since Orlovsky threw a pitch.
First pitch hack in the air. Tausig with space. There's the first out. Both runners tag. So it's 7-5 on the sac fly.
Yeah, Dixon was thinking the same thing I was. If I get a fastball right here, I'm going to try to end this thing. And he put a good swing on it, just got the bottom of the ball a little bit. That was a big league pop-up, and Tauzig's able to corral it, keep the double play in order, but the Pirates do play to run, so a sac fly for Dixon Williams.
And here's the man who was robbed of a home run by Tausig, Austin Irby, back when the game was pleasant in the 4th inning. Now it's getting feisty here in the 9th. 5 runs, UTSA top half. East Carolina with a run of its own and threatening here in the 9th. Robert Orlowski misses.
You know, when Irby kind of been in the middle of some of, not of this controversy, but earlier in the game with the kind of hard slap tags down at first base, we saw it going back and forth. And Irby, a guy that's already animated just by nature. So if he were to do something big here, it could he would be demonstrative to say the very least.
In a game where head coach Pat Hallmark has been escorted and ejected out. UTSA riding a 9-game win streak, takes a furious rally. And now East Carolina fighting for a top 3 seed in the American Conference with its own rally here in the 9th. The 1-1, late on the heat. Third appearance of the weekend for Robert Orlowski, and this is game 2. Facing a true freshman in Austin Irby. Retiring Irby with a fastball.
Yeah, just chased up. Big moment there for Irby. And, you know, he's hit the balls hard today, as you said earlier. I mean, it was almost like he was due. You know, he was due for some good fortune, but Orlowski elevates that fastball, and Irby swings through it.
And now Colby Wallace, who pitched earlier this inning, could win it here in the 9th. Here's Orlowski's first. Wallace line drive, 7-6. This game adds more and more chapters in the 9th inning.
Let me tell you something, and the plot thickens now. You have Riley Johnson, the senior day that he's had, home run in his last at bat, strolls to the plate with the tying run in scoring position. Good swing there by Colby Wallace. Again, not trying to do too much. Drives the ball through the left side and plates a run.
Johnson homered on his senior day last at bat. How does the storybook ending unfold here? 2 outs, opportunity for Johnson. He takes ball 1. And nobody warming in the UTSA pen. Here's the 1-0. Strike 1.
Good take there by Riley. Off-speed offering from Orlowski. I would think he's sitting dead red looking for a fastball until he gets to 2 strikes.
The 1-1. Way inside. Johnson, the double shy of the cycle, putting on a great display. Back healthy this weekend.
Well, a double here would most likely be enough to send Colby Wallace at a chance to win the ball game. What a story that would be, the cycle, the game in an RBI.
Tried for it there, 2-2. Some postseason energy in this final home series for East Carolina.
You know, this is a huge pitch here, 2-2, because if it were to go to 3-2, that favors the Pirates because they're off and running with the 2 outs in the inning.
Here's the 2-2. Got him chasing. Orlowski, the man of the hour, walks in and out of trouble as UTSA wins 10 straight in comeback fashion. A dramatic 9th inning, and these two clubs always energetic, a lot of conversation. And this is a doubleheader, so there's plenty more to go in 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be chippy. This next one should be fun, and I was worried about what the reaction and the animation would be from the teams, and Cliff Godwin took exception to something that either the players from UTSA said or how they kind of gestured at the dugout. Now there's some words being exchanged between both teams, kind of stern looks, and Man, it kind of builds the interest for what the nightcap will look like.
Don't go anywhere. Around 6 o'clock, we'll run it back. UTSA wins the series after ECU had a lead in the 9th, but the Roadrunners come back. Thanks for joining us. I bet you don't have plans tonight. Stick around for another one. Mike Mullis, EvanBudrovich, Game 3 coming up next as the Roadrunners have now won 10 straight. A fun one in Greenville, 7-6. This is a presentation of ESPN.